We are how many days out? 67 days out. 67 days out from the start of training camp. And to me, this is where you see your football team being made. But without further ado, how we start this bad puppy off? Big Sills. Hey, man, I got to give it to ESP, the resident mouthpiece for the Philadelphia Eagles and WIP. Even though he's a credent, he does good work. He does. He does good work. Covers the team diligently. I don't know if he's as good as John. I think John's work is impeccable when he covers the Philadelphia Eagles. And I say that not because he works here. You know me. Big Sills throws shade on everyone. I don't care if you work with me or you don't work with me. I'm going to throw shade on your ass. And John does impeccable work when it comes to covering that football team. He really does. And we're really glad to have him here with us. And that's what makes our channel probably second to none when it gives you the straight and the skinny when it comes to covering the Philadelphia Eagles. And he's doing a nice job covering it right now and giving us a little bit of the insight of what we're looking at on 7 on 7. By the way, before we get going, do me a favor. We're trying to get to 200 likes. By the end of the day, even after we go off, we're always over that number. But I like to do it by the end of the program. So let's see if we can kind of hit that number. We'll get it today. I know we will. Yesterday, we were a little bit shy of it. So let's see that we get that number up to 200 again. You guys have been absolutely awesome. Hey, I'll tell you what I did like to see on 7 on 7, and I liked what I heard on 7 on 7, was that Devin White and Zach Bond were the inside linebackers during 7 on 7. No Nakobe Dean. That tells you a lot where Vic is now. And I'm going to get to Vic Fangio here. Seems to be a lot of conversation about him. And not in Philly, in South Florida. So what did we do? We reached out to Armando Salguero. I talked to him last night. I talked to some of the people in the Miami Dolphin organization, some of the people in the Miami media. And we're going to hit on Vic here in a second. In the secondary, on the perimeter, Slay, Rogers, Maddox were your corners. No Bradbury. Are they telling Bradbury to stay away because they're moving him? Look, you're not going to get any value for the kid. James Bradbury is not going to return you any type of value that you're going to care about. He's got a big cap hit number. He's got a big salary. He's not going to return. And plus his production last year, you'd be lucky to get a 5th or 6th rounder for him. Be lucky to get that. So don't be expecting, well, let's trade him for it. You're not getting a 3rd rounder. You're not trading him in a package deal for somebody. You're just not. Now, you have to take everything with a grain of salt here. These guys are in helmets and shorts. Don't go overboard like you all do. Let's keep everything in perspective. It's helmets and shorts. Speaking of helmets, I love our fan base, and I love the people that watch the program. One of my former coaches at my high school, Stanford Catholic in Stamford, Connecticut, sent me a helmet. He didn't coach me. He's not Joe Anslow, and I was there back 100,000 years ago in the early 80s. But they sent Big Sills a Stanford Catholic helmet. These are the helmets we wore in high school. It's not exactly my helmet. Catholic League and all that. Old Stanford Catholic helmet. Pretty dope, huh? Catholic High. Who would have thought I went to a Catholic high school? So we thank everybody. We get all kinds of great gifts that people send us. So, yeah, and one of the legendary high schools. I played with 3 pros. Get this, we had 35 guys on my high school football team. We both went both ways, or all of us went both ways, played center, and I played linebacker, defensive end. I was an edge rusher, and I played center, and we had 3 pros on the team. Dave Pazzulli went to Pitt. then went on and played a 7-year career in the NFL. Tony Brown went to Pitt, and he played in the NFL. And, of course, I went to Miami and played in the National Football League, too, and got drafted. So pretty crazy that you had that few of guys. And we used to play against schools that had 3,000 kids in them. And I think our graduating class had 160 people in it. But we were all recruited. So that's pretty cool, man. Yeah, hey, Harold, how did I know somebody was not going to go that way? Sills went both ways. Okay, whatever. Just absolute credence. All right, let's get into this here. Why do you guys have $30 million in cap space? Why do the Eagles have $30 million in cap space? What are you planning on doing with it? I don't think you're planning on doing anything with it this year. You're not making a deal. You got $30 million in cap space. What are you going to do with it? As a matter of fact, and I'm going to say this. Look, the Eagles aren't cheap. Organizations like Dallas, if they had $30 million in cap space, would be cheap. CZ, follow me here. I said something yesterday that I'm going to take back, that the Eagles were cheap. They're not. This is a product of cap management. I wanted to correct that. $27.7 million is a reflection of Howie. Because you get this, you spent $10 million on a running back. You spent $25 million. Now you're spending $30 million on one wide receiver and $25 on another. You're paying a quarterback $50 million. I mean, you gave an edge rusher $18 million. You just gave Gardner Johnson $7 million. So it's not like the Eagles don't spend their money. They just know how to put contracts together and cap management. This is without a doubt, in my opinion, a reflection of Howie's brilliance when it comes to just being able to construct these contracts. Most teams would be $27 million over the cap when you're spending that kind of money. Not the Eagles. The owner allows that guy to give you the bag of money up front, which in turn takes those cap hits down. And one of the reasons that you're so far under the cap, it's a reflection of the front office. Here is where you get your kudos for what you have done when it comes to being the best cap management football team in the National Football League. And I don't think it's close. That is an absolute reflection of Howie and the front office. Look, you know I'm critical of the guy. You know I think he sucks as a personnel guy on defense. But at the end of the day, he's brilliant at these cap numbers. Crowley might be the best. $27.7 million shows you he is. And you had a down, get this, the Eagles had a down year winning 11 games. Self-inflicted wounds. And you're still 27.7 under the cap. Can I tell you something? If you're a 49er fan, whose window is open longer for a Super Bowl run, the Eagles or the Niners? By the way, I can't believe I'm starting my program out like this. But I wanted to make sure that I came correct with why it's not cheap what the Eagles are doing. It's not cheap. It's smart. The Eagles' window for a Super Bowl opportunity, on what Xander said yesterday, is open longer than what the 49ers have to win this year. They got to win now. Because when you start paying that quarterback, McCaffrey is in danger of not being on that team. Debo, Ayuk, one of those guys will not be on the team. What are you going to do with Kittle? What are you going to do with Bosa's 30+ million bucks? I mean, you got to win now. Today. You don't have a Super Bowl window. You don't have a Super Bowl window in San Francisco. The Eagles have one. You know why? They got $30 million in mistake money. Think about that. The 49, hey, guys, do me a favor. How much money? Hey, Prince, Niners contracts are crazy. Will somebody do me a favor right now? I should have did this and I should have did my homework. I apologize. Where are the 49ers right now in cap space? Does somebody, I know a lot of you in here do a lot of that stuff. Where are the Niners right now in cap space? And I'll show you the difference in mistake money. The Eagles have mistake money. They can make mistakes because they got $30 million in a reserve. That's running your company to the T's, and it's an excellent, excellent position to be in. I mean, think about all those contracts. And like Prince said, Kyle, there's $16 million under the cap. That's better than what I thought. Prince, 16.2, that's actually better than I thought with all those massive contracts. But here's the key. They ain't paying their quarterback yet. You guys are paying your quarterback. When that quarterback's money hits and they got to start paying Brock Purdy, man, that's $16 million. You may be $16 million in the hole. Just saying. Eagles are in a great place. Financially, they are in a great place. And, you know, hey, look at M. Reyes. How he's pointing a gun at Sills behind the camera. So, like, I'm not supposed to be sitting here pointing out the things that they do great. And I want to make sure that I come out and say that the 27.7 is not cheap because they do spend money and that it's brilliant in what they're doing. And I've called it before and said that Howie is without a doubt the best cap management and contract negotiator that there is in the league. I'm not getting it here. This isn't a one-side conversation. Once again, I want everyone to understand something here. This is the only show that gives it to you straight, no matter what side of the aisle we're on. No matter what side of the aisle. And if he does something great, I'm going to recognize it. You hate the guy. Don't flip-flop. So I shouldn't recognize the guy being 27.7 under the cap where you have a longer window of a Super Bowl window than the Niners do. Okay. Just as I thought. Idiotic. Idiotic conversations when you talk like that. Make no mistake about it. Okay? All right. I want to point this out to you here. Oh, before we get going, James Franklin, the head football coach of Penn State, should be fired. He should be fired. And so should the athletic director. Happy Valley, you got another problem again. You got a scumbag coach. You want to take shots and shit at Dion. Well, here, let's put this out there. So James Franklin and AD Sandy Barber are getting in the way of medical decisions that are being made with student athletes so that they can get these guys disqualified, so that they can get their fucking scholarships taken from them because James Franklin has no character and he can't honor a contract or he can't honor a scholarship. One kid was in a situation where he was committing suicide. Franklin wanted him discredited and wanted him disqualified so he could take his scholarship. Hey, scumbag, step down. Step down, scumbag. Step down. Step down, scumbag. Give a kid a scholarship. They're 1-year renewables. You could tell a kid you're not good enough. You might want to transfer. It's another thing to disqualify kids that are hurt and using that as a reason to get rid of them. And one kid who almost killed himself in suicide and was in psychiatric care, to disqualify him, you're a fucking scumbag. You can't win big games. You're begging for nil money, and you're no Joe Paterno. Time to step down, scumbag. I have absolutely no respect for you. Kid was in psychiatric protocol. Dr. Pete Seidenberg, Penn State doctor who was in charge of medical care for all student athletes in the football program, testified on the stand to these comments and the interference by the AD and the head coach. You are a scumbag. Kid puts his trust in you, goes to a school, wants to be coached, wants to play at Penn State, one of the best programs in the country, and you've turned it into a fuck show. That is what's everything wrong with college football is James Franklin. He's the head football coach, and they're afraid to fire him because he's black. And it's a good look over Paterno. Remember what I told you about being a coach? It's got nothing to do with skin color. I don't want a black coach. I don't want a white coach as my coach. I want the right fucking coach. That's kind of stuff right there that aggravates me. Penn State is some of the greatest fans on the planet. It's an amazing fan base. Amazing fan base. Amazing alumni. And you got a coach like that who can't beat Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and can't win big games. He's a loser. Everything wrong with college football is in Happy Valley right now. Who would have thought that after the Paterno mess and the Sandusky mess? Who would have actually thought that? And you got a guy and you had a player on your team who was going to commit suicide, and Franklin wanted to pull a scholarship so he can give it to someone else, not help the kid. Bro, you're there teaching student athletes. They're students too. You're a scumbag. Unbelievable. All right. Kind of stuff just gets to me a little bit. So, do the Eagles have a problem? Do the Eagles have a problem in Vic Fangio? Miami players are saying that Vic Fangio is a horrible person and a horrible coach. Cam Smith implied that Vic Fangio was a horrible man. Javon Holland, it's a complete 180 compared to what we had in the nightmare we had a year ago. Style of coaching, his 34, his my way or the highway. Is Vic Fangio a train wreck waiting to happen? Is he? Every single Miami player that played for Vic Fangio just about has said he was a horrible man. His schemes were outdated. His defense was outdated. Does Miami have a point? Yes or no? Do you think Vic Fangio represents the things that the Miami Dolphin players are saying? Miami's full of divas. Martin says no. I still remember damn cheat code to unlock the. Jalen Carter said he talked to Miami players and they said he's great. That's not what's being reported. That's a fucking lie. There's 10, 15 players that have said Fangio was a horrible man. Sean says no. He's just a strict old man. We can only wait and see, Sills. Flexen says. By the way, please hit the like button here. He's had success. Dolphin had injuries in 23. They also broke the sack record last year without bringing pressure. Flexen goes, I don't trust Fangio. So they had injuries on the Dolphin defense, and they played outstanding in the playoffs. I haven't given you my opinion yet. Miami players are soft. He's an old school coach. I'll be your coach. I won't be your friend. Herb Brooks. I haven't given you my opinion yet. I think Fangio either is going to be good or he's going to be on vacation. Pop Fangio is a boomer. He's old school. Some players don't like that. Frank goes, who cares about your opinion? Hey, fuckhead, I'm not giving you my opinion. I'm telling you what the opinion of the players that he coached last year are. I'm talking about what they're saying. Easy, son. Sit down. Go put your aluminum foil hat on. I'd rather have him as a leader on defense more than Patricia's overrated ass. Seals Dante Waitner said the football IQ went through the roof because of Fangio. Prince, players dislike changes and were not comfortable with new adjustments. Agreed. Okay. Seals, any person in a leadership position that is not flexible possesses the willingness to adapt to tools and employees they have is a problem. Brian, thank you, my friend. The Eagles have been in this scheme for the last 4 years. True. Thank you, Frank. Hey, Frank. Frank, can I tell you that? Xander, put Frank up there. Frank, you're the type of guy that I love on this program. Hey, Sileo, fuck you. Here's my like. Hey, here's Frank. Total Philly. Total Philly mentality. You ready? Hey, Sileo, fuck you. Here's my like. You guys never stop, man. You never stop here. Miami players are pussies. Okay. Here's Big Sills' opinion. Hey, Miami players, go suck on a big one. Hey, man, you're pussies. Plain and simple. You don't like it. No one, I don't like what my coach is telling me. Shut the fuck up. Honest to God, man. Holy shit. Guys trying to bring some discipline to your undisciplined culture in South Florida. Man up, man. You can't coach players like that. Really? Tom Brady tells you this all the time. I was coached by an old school Bill Belichick, which resulted in 6 Super Bowls. Are you out of your mind? I think that's a merit badge that those players are whining and crying down in South Florida that Vic Fangio was too tough on them. That's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles needed in that 1-6 stretch run, was someone to kick their freaking ass. You needed an ass kicking, not a pat on the back when you were getting your faces kicked in. You need someone in your ass telling you, you're losing it, son. Not, is everything okay? I don't want players like that on my team. I'd take a lesser guy on my team. I would take a lesser dude on my team that was allowing me to coach him and get the best out of him I can versus people who complained and bitched about a scheme. Play the fucking scheme you're in, son. I'm the coach. You're the player. Know your role. Know your role. You want to know why the Miami Dolphins were a cheap off Fendi bag? Because they were frauds as players. You get no tough guys down there on defense. You know what you have? Complainers. No wonder the Dolphins have an ID problem. They got an identity problem. You know what it is? You're soft. Hey, the Philadelphia Eagles may have fell apart, but have you ever heard me use the word soft on them? No. The Eagles aren't soft. They just don't have the right players on the roster. But I wouldn't call anybody soft. Is Slade not the greatest tackler? He's still a Pro Bowler. I mean, Vic was really mean, and he listen how this sounds. Listen how this sounds. And I'm going to do this like a wimp. Vic was really mean. He's a really grumpy old man. And you know what? He's just a really angry guy. He was just mean. And he was a horrible man. Oh, my God. If that was my football team and that was the head coach and I'm Mike McDaniels, and I would look at that and go, guys, shut up. You're making us look like worms. Oh, my God almighty. It's 180 degrees. Why? Because this guy's patting you on top of the head, telling you how great you are and motivating you the way you want to be motivated, like you're in a kindergarten. National Football League's not kindergarten class, son. It's show up or get out. There's no bell curve. You're either going to get the job done or you're not. Like, there's no bell curve in the NFL. Well, he's kind of good. I don't know. You're either good or you're not. Come on, man. Hey, I may not like Vic's 34. And that's a schematic difference of an opinion that me and him have. Because I don't think you have the people for it. But I love the style. His press conference now goes in. Dude, I'll tell you what you got in there now. You got an old school Jimmy Johnson or Jim Johnson type coach who is going to lay the wood down on these guys. And if I were Howie, him and Howie are going to have major problems because that guy's going to play the best guy, no matter what that looks like. I am more confident now than I've ever been that Vic Fangio, he may not have the right people, but he's going to put the best people in positions to help that defense get better. No matter where you're drafted, first round or seventh round, you're going to play. That's the Belichick mentality. You think Bill ever really cared if you were Julian Edelman, never drafted? Or if you were N'Keal Henry, who was a guy who was taken in the first round, he got rid of his ass and kept the guys he never drafted, like Chris Hogan. Okay? Chips goes next week, you'll hate Vic. I hate his 34. Two things can be right, dude. You don't have the people for running his 34. But he's going to get in people's asses. So that's what that guy doesn't get. And by the way, hating or you mean being critical? Hey, dude, Stop being so sensitive about somebody with constructive criticism towards you or your football team. What are you, a worm? McMullen says no 3-4 for Vic. Many different fronts. That's all he's really run in base has been a 34. Sills, do you have confidence in Vic? Great question, Steve. Again, the scheme, and he said, John says there are going to be multiple fronts. That's probably why they don't have Josh Sweat in a position where he's a starter right now, because they may put him in a 40 front. Look at this guy, Chip. Flip-flop what? I've never liked the 34. I'm telling you that this guy's at least giving it to people straight. How's that a flip-flop, jackass? I don't like his scheme. I'm going to be honest. It doesn't seem right to run a 34 when the linebackers are the main part of it, with less talent at linebacker. David, what John is telling Xander being out there is that they're going to run multiple fronts. Okay. That means less playing time for Jordan Davis. That means Jordan Davis's pick will be even lesser of an impact on your team, if that's going to be the case. Okay, so, I mean, Jordan Davis, by the end of the year, this is going to be a telltale year where you're going to say this: it wasn't worth the pick at 13. It just wasn't worth the pick. Also, some big nickel, too, with 3 safeties and only 1 linebacker. Boy, then you're going to be relying on all the inexperience that you have in the secondary versus – that's a good point. So before we rip it, would you rather rely on inexperience versus lack of talent? I'd rather have the youth than I would the lack of talent. So means play the young guys. Yeah, I'd rather have that. I would rather have that. Play the young guys. Don't play the old guys. You already know who they are. I don't want to play Bradbury anymore. If I have to take a cap hit, I've got $30 million. Take it. Get him out of there. Play the young guys. Because, get this, I know who James Bradbury is now. Think about where you are here. He was cut by the Giants. He played great center field because you got tons of pressure in 22. That pressure went away, stunk. That pressure's not going to get up to set. Dude, how many people do you think could play great corner when you play zone and your defensive front 4 gets you 70 sacks? How good do you really have to be back there? How good do you have to be in the secondary when you're front, not only the 70 sacks, but the hits on the QB? How great do you have to be? Right? It took Brandon Graham 4 years to be a complete player, Sills. You need to give Jordan Davis the same opportunity. If he cut off the donuts, I think he'll be a good player this year. I think if they put him at that nose position, Steve, I think it's going to help his game a ton. But I also think you got to put him in a position of success. I think he's been playing. He's not a defensive tackle, and he's not a 3 technique. He's a guy you play on the nose or in a 1 technique. And by the way, do I think he's a 2-gapper? They didn't 2-gap at Georgia. He's not. Sills, how are the Eagles going to get consistent pressure? That's a great question. Here's how you get great pressure. Stop the run. 3rd and long. Give yourself an opportunity at pass rushing situations. By the way, I don't really, and I haven't studied Vic's twists, how he brings pressure, how they do games. I haven't studied that. I'll ask Coach Wannstedt more about that. But hey, lining a guy up in a 3 technique and telling that guy, running him out of a bear front, like what Xander says that John McMullen is telling him. You know how Kellen Moore is going to bring motion? Different fronts also confuse O-lines. Let's take a look at this. O-lines. Do the Packers have a great O-line? Not really. They're not bad. Do the Falcons? No way. Do the Saints? Kind of. The Bucs? Not really. They lose the center. Left tackle's fantastic. The Browns, great O-line. The Giants, great left tackle. The Bengals, kind of. The Jags, not really. The Cowboys, not really. The Commanders, not really. The Rams, getting better. Baltimore, it's not what it was 2 years ago, their O-line. Panthers, better. Steelers, improving. I mean, are they really going against top? Here are the top flight O-lines you're playing against. Browns, Baltimore, and Green Bay, probably. You're not playing great O-lines this year. Okay? Here he goes. The Falcons have a decent O-line. Not great, though. Which means you can schematically scheme them up. Got a lot of new faces in there. Say this to you. Sills, is Jordan Davis in shape because he was driven to work hard this offseason, or did Clint push him? I think Clint had a come to Jesus conversation. As a matter of fact, Denny, I know he did. You know what? Here's what Clint's a great coach. He won't be there next year. Clint will be a defensive coordinator somewhere in the league next year. Just so happens that he worked up with Pete Carroll and all those guys up in Seattle. He's a great coordinator. And he and I have had lengthy conversations about. I'll flat out tell you what I told him about the two dudes. Davis is out of position. He's not a first and second down guy, or he's not a third down dude. I said, let me say something to you. I saw the greatest play in the history of defensive tackles for anybody 6'6", 350 pounds. I've never seen anybody run down Josh Allen like that. And that just showed me that he has that capability. The problem is that kid, ever since he was at Georgia, has never been pushed to do that every single play. He plays like Jerome. He'll give you one enormously, exceptionally crazy great play. And then he'll give you 3 decent ones. And he'll give you one horrible one. But that one play that he makes changes the game. He used to aggravate me. He used to just totally aggravate me. He would make these insane. He'd take 3 guys and just beat the shit out of them, get back in the backfield, tackle the guy. I'm telling you, I saw Jerome Brown in one game have an interception, a blocked punt, a blocked field goal, 3 sacks. He broke Troy Aikman's leg. And he had 20 tackles. I'm standing right next to him. I'm going, I've never seen anything like this. It was a one-man wrecking machine. You had to see it. And he was playing against guys who played in the NFL when they were at Oklahoma. I've never seen anything like it. And do I think he's got that capability? No, I think the other guy does. He's got that capability, Carter. Never seen anything like it. Never seen anything like it. And we were probably some of the two best pairs of defensive tackles that have ever played the game of college football, he and I. And I've never seen anything like that to this day. Sills, is that when y'all flipped the Booner Schooner? Yeah, they ran that shit. They ran that shit through our workout. Jerome goes like this: you do that shit again, we're going to flip that thing. They had these chick cheerleaders and the guy cheerleaders on this Booner Schooner thing, and they kind of ran that thing in there. And we flipped it right there at Memorial Stadium. Yeah, guy. I knew somebody like JB would say we. Well, I got to show you this here, man. This is really cool because somebody was talking about Jerome the other day, and they were talking about he and I at Miami together. It was really cool too, what he said. Let me see here if I can find this. This is what see if I can find that. I think you'll like this. Keith Jackson called that game. He sure did. He sure did call that game. It was one of the great moments for our program when we killed that team. It's really fantastic, actually. Yeah, I got to find that. I'll find it later on. Jerome's just fantastic. I think Carter has that capability to be that kind of guy. I really do. I think he's got that opportunity. And I think Vic's going to put him in that position to be able to do that. Oklahoma's okay because can't spell mediocre. I like it. Very cool. Can't spell mediocre. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I like it. Yeah. Here it is right here. This was a column that was in the Philadelphia Inquirer. You can't blame anyone, but he never had the football. But while he was quick, notice mistakes. This is the defensive coordinator talking about our Miami front four that you had back in the day when we played Penn State. And he goes, that's a big-time front four. Miami has, he said, Jerome Brown's a top pick, and we're almost more worried about Sileo than we did Brown because he was tough in every single game we saw, both as a pass rusher and also as a run stopper. Two guys are the most dominant people we have ever seen at Penn State. Right there. It's a big-time front four. We were more worried about Sileo than Jerome Brown. It's not true. It's a nice compliment. As a college player, Sapper Jerome. Thank you, Sean. I mean, Philadelphia Inquirer. That may have been Mike Missinelli writing that. Yeah, I mean, that may have been Mike, but Jerome was just insane. Do I think that Jordan Davis has Jerome Brown capabilities? No, I think the kid Carter does. He's got the capabilities. Jay Brown goes, what happened? Big Sills led the Canes in tackles, had 2 sacks, held you guys to 6 first downs. I don't throw the ball. Hey, I sound like Darius Slay. I don't throw the ball or catch it. I just kill you. Hey, Xander, I don't throw it or catch it or run with it. I just kill you. I just kill you. Sills, it's been announced that Trey Lance is set to start every game in the preseason. Good. Got to see if he finally can show us if he can play. So Davis is Sileo. Is that no? I had a better rookie year than he did. And I didn't last. You don't have to be very good any longer to play on Howie's team. He'll keep you around. Thing is, Slay is good in the NFL. Slay's been a great pro. He's been a great pro. Thank you very much, Prince. Please hit the like button. All right. So personally, those Miami guys crying about Vic, that's awesome. Philly could have had Jerome and Sapp, but we got Mamula. Mike Mamula. God, did that guy suck. Dan Sileo. Sure. Oh, hey, we'll get to A.J. Owens. Hey, so before I move on to the next topic, Xander loves A.J. Owens. So A.J. Owens shows up to a charity bike event. A charity bike event with a motor-powered bike. Only A.J. Owens would show up to a charity bike event and a charity ride event with a motorized bike. What a diva, man. I'm glad he showed up. The autism event's a great event they put on. A.J. Brown, a Philly legend. Let's go, Sills. 3 yards, 2 years, 3K, 2 years. Epic. And a lot of whining. I gave him my money. I didn't get my money. Oh, I got it now. Oh, what? I'll be a weeder. Oh, yeah, well, we got my money. Guy cares about his direct deposit anymore does team wins. Remember, this guy was at a strip club when the Bucks were playing the Eagles in the playoff game. He's up at a strip club called Chez Paris on table 7 with chandelier. Look at my team, man. They need me. Yeah, that's a good one. He's at Chez Paris with chandelier. Table 5. Hey, whatever you do, don't eat the chicken salad. Don't eat chicken salad at a strip club, from what I'm told. Plus, had to show off his motorized bike. Yeah. A.J. Owens, man. Hard at it. By the way, I think it's awesome that he showed up at the event. It's a really great event that the Eagles do. Can never go and say anything that they don't do great things in the community. Damn, Sills. We'll do anything to talk about A.J. Owens, yet Jalen Carter's back the entire time. Let's see here. Boxing match. Butthead. No, I heard it was a strip club, and he was up there throwing 50-cent pieces at him instead of dollar bills. Yeah, he's as cheap as Howie. Yeah. Don't eat fish sticks out of vending machines. That's a damn good. I love it. With a fake knee injury, allegedly. Holy cow. Hey, Scale, do you work in the media? You must work in the media. Hey, he had a fake knee injury, allegedly. Mark Farzetta's going to join us, by the way, at 4:30. Please hit the like button. You guys are killing it, man. We're doing a good roll here. All right. We're not taking a time out here. Not happening. Because I got a really great topic here. Sills needs AJ and Nick in order to have any content. Are you kidding me? Those guys are gold. Absolutely. Are you crazy? Who's going to give me content? N'Kobe No Play Dean? Let me guess. Hold on. Who else? Devin, I've been fired White? Who else? Oh, and Hurts. Oh, God, he's legendary Philly gold. Congratulations, kid. You figured out sports talk. It only took you 3 years. Holy cow, this guy has an epiphany right here on our program. Take a bow, guy. You figured out sports talk. Way to go. Nick slander? Oh, wait, you haven't heard the best of it yet. Hey, J-Bone, you haven't heard the best of it yet. Absolutely. His new hate is on Barkley. No, I have no hate. His impact is going to be as a blocker, not as a runner. Sills, where's Mark Holmes? Man, I hate to tell you this, man. I think you guys ran that dude off. I texted him. He won't even text me back now. It's all right. It all happens like that. Very simple. Just another dude. It's what it is. I'll forget him like I forgot that one guy that used to come on the program. Yeah. He texted me again. I said, text Sills. He's afraid to text Sills. See, I do that to people. As my wife would say, you can be intimidating. Cosmo goes, Holmes is soft. Well, like the Cowboys. That's right, Steve. Just a dude. He said, back on track next week, but we'll see about that one. Dude, Philly fans, you ran out Ben Simmons and Mark Holmes. Holy shit. You guys ran out Mark Holmes. Whew. Boy, is he going to get killed by you. If I were him, man, I wouldn't show my face next Wednesday. I might want to take a knee on this one. I might want to take a knee. You are not going to be kind to him. Hey, you are not going to be kind to that guy. That guy is, hey, Twiz, you better tell your boy. I know he's your boyfriend. You better tell him, Twiz, this is all your bullshit. Okay? You better tell him, man. He's going to be called Mark Ben Simmons Holmes is his new name. And you tell him I said that. Philly 500 gave him a beating. Hey, man, it's one thing for you and I to go back and forth. But, man, you guys took a sledgehammer to that guy. Even Sue beat his ass. Hey, Twiz, your boy, he's soft. He's soft as Charmin paper. Big Marshall, I told you Mark Holmes was a bum. He used to. He used to get out of his grandma's basement. Marshall, thank you very much for the super chat, dude. Oh, can we get Sills a translator? Wait, is that a translator during the season? Sorry, dude. What are you talking about? A tesserator? A tesserator? What is that? You're going to have to speak English, guy. I'll need a Shohei Ohtani translator. All right. NJ Fishing Maniac. Great to see you here. Are you ready? What coach out of these 10 do you want to replace Fredo Sirianni? What coach do you want out of the top? I got 10 names. You bet, NJ. One of the original. What coach? Dave goes Gruden. Wouldn't be bad, but damaged goods kind of. Slavic or Ben Johnson? I knew Nick Sirianni. He's fired. Either way, he's fired. Vrabel. Lions OC. McVay. I never thought about making a trade. Holy shit, Neil. I never thought of making a trade. Eagles trade draft picks for Sean McVay. Would he do that? He wouldn't leave LA. No way. No way. No way. Trade our number one for McVay. Yes. Bob, I never thought, because coaches have been traded before. The New Orleans Saints gave a first-round pick to the Denver Broncos, or the Broncos gave a first-round pick to the New Orleans Saints to get Sean Payton. I like A.J. Owens and Wishbone Hurts. Wishbone. Looks good out there, doesn't he? McVay ain't moving to Philly. He's an L.A. dude. He's actually a Tampa dude. Thank you, David. I appreciate you becoming a new member. Thank you, my friend. He's actually a Tampa guy. And his grandfather was raised, or he may have had some San Francisco background. He may have some California blood in him. I don't know, but he spent the majority of his life, Sean McVay, in Tampa. Lincoln Riley to the Eagles? No, thank you. I have no interest. We already got a shitbag coach who can't do anything on defense. I don't need another one. It has to be an offensive play caller. Kyle, amen. And this is where I'm at. D'Amico Ryans, Nick Caserio's not giving that guy up. I never thought of the Eagles making a trade, though, for a coach. How about if Kyle Shanahan shits the bed in San Francisco? Could they fire him? You think Shanahan could be fired if he doesn't deliver this year? Kyle Shanahan in Philly? Remember, Tony Dungy got fired in Tampa. And Tony went to the Indianapolis Colts and won a Super Bowl. You know, he ain't winning the big one, but he's in the big one. What does him being a San Francisco 49er have to do with winning for the Eagles? I don't want – he doesn't want Kyle Shanahan, but he's going to keep Nick Sirianni. San Francisco won't fire him. He's too much of an asset. I think so too, Devontae. I think he's too much of an asset. But trading for a coach, I never thought of that. Here, I got 10 names. Thumbs up, thumbs down. And why? You ready? Bill Belichick to replace Nick Sirianni in 2025. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I want Nick out after this year. I don't care what it is. I don't want him in that role anymore. Not an offensive guy. Joe's down. Up, Marcus. Nope. Yeppy. Down. Goff. Up. Still said Nick had a 3 to 5 year leash. Right. Well, he's had 3 years. Thank you for bringing that up. No to Belichick. Adam, no. Belichick did do a great job with Brady. Anthony, up. Okay. Thank you, Prince, for being part of this. I appreciate that a lot. You know I do. This is his 4th year going into it, correct? I appreciate that. Just reminding you. When in a million years did you ever think that I supported that guy who's not qualified to be a head football coach for your team? I have never liked Nick Sirianni. Sills, I don't disagree with any offensive-minded head coach, but the idea of Belichick wargaming with a quarterback is very interesting. Bob, thank you for the super chat. Bob, that's what he does. It's not that he's some sort of guru when it comes. Hey, Bob, let me ask you this. You know how everybody criticized him for putting defensive-minded guys as coordinators in there? Bob, if you're sitting across from Tom Brady and you're telling Tom Brady and asking Tom Brady, the greatest mind in the history of defensive coaches in the National Football League, Coach Lawrence Taylor, and you have him on that side of the ball, and he's telling you what he's going to throw at you, what are you going to do? And he's showing you and disguising and showing you some of the integral parts on how you disguise coverages, how you disguise blitzes. Isn't that something that you want your quarterback to absorb and be taught? Can you imagine the influence that Bill Belichick could have on Jalen Hurts, having him pick up blitzes better, having him understand why they're blitzing? Remember something about Belichick, okay? Here's his philosophy. I listened to it when he was down with Coach Johnson at his house. I've listened to it. I've listened to Bill talk. How do you think Bill comes at you when he's scheming up a defense? I've got 9 other guys here. It's not just him. How do you think Belichick comes after you? Like, if Belichick was going to come after the Philadelphia Eagles' current offense, what do you think he would be and where would he attack first? Up the middle, king. Up the middle. Internal pressure. The Eagles have struggled with it. And now you got a new center and a new coordinator. Bill, that's right, Joe. Bill doesn't attack schemes. He attacks the weakest link. Okay, here's something that he would do offensively against that Eagle defense. Where do you think Belichick's coaches would attack that Eagle defense? Gronkowski would be the major target because you have a mismatch with the tight end versus those linebackers. You're small. You're not good. The linebackers and the running backs would have a field day, not so much running it, but they would catching it. Now, with a qualified quarterback, of course. By the way, that game, that first week of the season last year was not out of hand. If you, like in the Brady time, if you had Brady and Gronk in that opener, they would have mauled the Eagles in that opener because they would attack the weakness. They would have went right after Dean, and they did anyway. And you go after Bradbury. You go after free agents. You know why? Free agents aren't quite sure what they're being asked to do. They would attack Bryce Huff. Really great coordinators are going to go after Bryce Huff. Why? He never starts. He's not a 3-down guy. And they're going to go at him. You don't attack schemes. You attack people. That's what the great coordinators do. That's how you go after folks. Like the biggest weakness that the Eagles have right now is the middle of the field again. I mean, they seemingly have addressed the numbers and won't yet to be played out yet whether they have. But their biggest weakness, like it's been 2 years, even with TJ, has been the middle of the field. Okay? Well, that's where teams are going to attack you until you prove otherwise. That's why when you think we are getting Parsons sales, why would you want to pay $30 million for a guy who's not tough? I don't like that player. Like Myles Garrett is twice the player that guy is. Myles Garrett is twice the player. Khalil Mack is almost twice the player. Vaughn is too old. Damn, dude. That guy is not who you think he is. If he was in Minnesota, he'd be Danielle Hunter. He's not who you think he is. He's only a name because he's a cowboy. Dude, how many times have you watched that guy against the Eagles when they run at him completely disappear? Arizona ran him over. Parsons is good. I'm not paying that guy $30 million. No way. I would trade his ass and get first-round picks because you know why? Some people are in here think that guy is a superstar. He's not. He's not a superstar. Dude, Myles Garrett, all day picking, all day and night. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Future Eagle Parsons. You get this. How about we just stop the whole bullshit with Parsons being an Eagle? You think Howie Roseman's going to pay $30 million to an edge rusher? We could stop it right now. How many people in here believe Howie will and Jeffrey Lurie will pay $30 million for an edge rusher? You can end that conversation right now. I like that kid Judon, and he's not a lot of money. Neil's like, NFW. They ain't paying $30 million. They don't even value, they barely value defense now. And if they do, it's corner. And DT. Get this. Here's the problem that you're going to get with Jalen Carter. Let's say Jalen Carter has 12 sacks this year. I'm hoping. Say he has 12 sacks. Next year he has 6. Year after that he has 8. Contract is up. Are the Eagles going to pay him $25 to $27 million in 2 years? Or are they going to let him walk? Are you going to pay Jalen Carter $27 million in 2 years? You think the Eagles will pay almost $30 million for a defensive tackle? It's a good point, Neil. He's a Howie guy. Seal's 9th pick. Could have been the 2nd pick. I think that's probably going to be a really great conversation. You know, they did play Fletcher. You know, in 21, didn't Fletcher make $18 million? They did pay him. Then they started reducing the salary, right? And they started bringing that salary down. So, maybe. All right. So, Belichick, mixed reviews. Mike Vrabel to replace Nick Sirianni in 25. Thumbs up, thumbs down. I like Mike Vrabel. And I tell you what, you know why I don't mind a defensive-minded coach? That's where your issues are. Your issues are on defense. Mike's a no-shit guy. Never wanted to get rid of AJ. I think AJ would embrace that too. That's right, Neil. Right. AJ and Vrabel got a... Hey, Vrabel has said it publicly. That wasn't something I was going to do, was getting rid of AJ Brown. And AJ has already said too, me and Mike are cool. I like him, but still need a play caller. Agreed. Senor doesn't like him. Cosmo, Sean McVay to the Eagles would be insane. Great. Okay? Yeah, he's son. Hey, get this. No, see, this is what LJ doesn't get. Mike Vrabel is such a great coach. He's making $8 million right now sitting at home. Why do I take a shitty job that I don't want if I'm making $8 million with my toes in the sand? Why would I do that? 2 years ago, I was the NFL Coach of the Year. Why in the world would I take a job I don't want if I'm at home making 8? You ever ask yourself that? Belichick has $20 million being paid to him right now. Bob Kraft, he's got 2 years of that. Why would he take an Atlanta job if he doesn't get everything he wants? You have to understand that. Those guys are in the land of fuck you. They don't have to take a gig because they're getting paid. Mike Vrabel's getting $8 million to go. I'll pick my job when I feel like it. Belichick's on a golf course right now making $20 million of Bob Kraft's money. Why would he take a shitty job like Atlanta if he didn't get full autonomy? You have to think a little harder sometimes. You know what I mean? Why would I take a lesser job where I have less chances of success with less autonomy and cash in my $8 million or my $20 million paycheck? How dumb can you be sometimes? I'll take a Falcons job, no control, and I'll cash in my $20 million that the Patriots are paying me right now. How dumb. Or let Vrabel take some even lesser job, some shitty lesser job, and he's making $8 million. Okay. How stupid can you be? I mean, let me take a job here, man. And then you're foreign. Then you're foreign, whatever. You win 4 ball games. No one hires you again because you took a job that you didn't have to because you were being paid for the next couple of years. Oh, my God. Some people just like to see the world burn. Oh, man. How you doing, baby? All right. Number 3. To replace that awful coach in Philly. Ben Johnson, OC, Detroit Lions. That guy turned down 2 gigs and did the right thing. You know what he did? He turned down Washington and he turned down Seattle. And they brought him in. He wanted $17 million because he wanted to be paid the same money that Harbaugh was paid. And he walked in there and they weren't going to give him total autonomy. And they were not going to do that in Seattle. And they weren't going to do that in Washington. And he went like this. Dude, he was earmarked to get that Washington job. Walked in there, did the interview with Josh Harris and all them guys. And he absolutely went like this. I have no interest. I'm going back. I'm going back to Detroit. You know what he went back to Detroit for? He went back to Detroit to increase his value. And you know what he did? If you are any quarterback right now and you see the word and name Ben Johnson, and you just see what he just got, Jared Goff, a guy who was supposed to be fired when they made that trade with Stafford, get $215 million and a $53 million annual salary. If you're a quarterback, you love seeing that. Look what he did for Goff. Jared Goff makes more money now than Matthew Stafford. Stafford's never going to make $53 million. You see what McVay said today? We're keeping this internal. They're not paying Matthew Stafford $50 million. You know what Matthew Stafford's saying? I won a Super Bowl here. Jared Goff's making more than me now? Who won that? As an organization, the Rams did. But as a player, guess who won it? Goff. Goff won it. You know why? Super Bowl trophies don't get me paid. Numbers do. Jared Goff has had better numbers the last couple years than Stafford. And you know how that's paid out and how this can be true? Look at their salary. You see, you got to remember something. This is something that's in my business. Sills, you're the best. Oh, my God, pats on the back. You know how I'm evaluated? I'm evaluated by the worth of my company and where my feet are. That's not always necessarily in salary. That could just be sometimes in the last man standing. Everything is relative. It's not always about the dough. Many cases, especially in that league, it is. But it's also about, are you the last man standing? You take that into account. Now, if your organization is hiring and bringing thousands of people in and paying people enormous money, that's where you got to bitch. He's younger and the money changes every year as the cap goes up. Well, Matthew Stafford is waiting for a contract and he wants more than Goff and they ain't giving it to him. I got to tell you, Kyle, I really love Brad Holmes and what he's doing in Detroit, along with Chris Spielman, who's in that front office up there working with all those guys, with Dan Campbell. The Detroit Lions have absolutely changed the mentality of how they're running that organization. They no longer run that company like the Ford Motor Company, where you have 17 different floors going through all the decisions that should be made and how to run the Lions. You got decision makers now in the building that are football people. And that's why the Lions are winning. And that's why the Lions are being successful right now. You have football people making football decisions. And guess what you have? You have a front office. In that Detroit front office, you have a line in the middle of the building. This is your side of the aisle. This is Dan Campbell's side. You don't have that in Philly. How he's able to cross lines whenever he feels like it. Brad Holmes doesn't go down and tell him who to coach. You think Brad Holmes tells Dan Campbell who to play on Sundays? You think he tells him who to play? Does that coach look like that kind of guy? He sure doesn't. By the way, Dan Campbell's done something that Sean McVay couldn't do. He's given confidence to Jared Goff. It's not just about X's and O's. I think you got to look at sometimes what a guy's great skill set is and what a guy's skill set isn't. Pretty remarkable on what they've done in the last 3 years. And by the way, look at all the draft picks that they've landed on with the Stafford deal. Laporte, the running back from Bama, Penei Sewell. I mean, the guys, Jack Campbell, guys in the secondary, almost every single pick that they got from that Stafford has hit. It's been remarkable. And they got a better roster. You know, I agree with Xander. Eagles have a better offense, but you don't have a better 53-man roster. They're better than you across the board as a unit. You win in this league with balance, not unbalance. Not unbalance. Great job. Who would have thought, too? The kneecap eater was a better coach than fraud or Fredo Sirianni. Turned out to be the better coach. 2 stupid press conferences. One guy's still stupid, and the other guy was in the NFC Championship game this last year with the Lions, who haven't done shit in 100 years. Crazy great. Kudos to you, Dan. You're actually a coach players want to follow. I like Ben Johnson. Would he take the Philadelphia Eagle gig? Number 5, Frank Smith, OC, Miami Dolphins. He is Mike McDaniel's right-hand man in play design calling, working with the quarterbacks, putting pass route trees together. He has been working with him, and Mike McDaniel says that he is his right-hand man. Just promote one of the coordinators. We're in Philly? No, thank you. Well, we'll get to one of those. MG. Oh, absolutely. Lion fans are absolutely starving for a good winner. I'm happy for him, too. Very happy for him. Do you think the Lions can beat the Eagles? It'd be close. Goff would rip that defense apart. Jalen would not rip the Lions apart. So it would come down to if you could run the ball. Again, to me, it'd be running the ball against the Lions. That's what it would come down to. And would the offensive coordinator go 35? You'd have to go 35 carries against. I would play against the Lions 35 carries. It would be a great game. I think it's a coin flip. I think that game would be a coin flip. Depending on where it's played, probably a coin flip. But if the Eagles had a good game plan and they ran the ball, I think they could beat them. Barkley's health would have to be an issue. Who covers St. Brown? I mean, you don't really have people. And the tight end would destroy the Eagle linebackers. You'd have to get pressure. You know, one thing you got to say about Jared Goff the last 3 playoff years, think about what he's done. You know, I want to show you something too. What'd they go 13-4 last year? The year before that, they won 12 ball games. So are you trying to tell me in the last 2 years that guy's lost 6 games? Is that right? Or what is it? 4? What's he lost? 8 games in the last 2 years? What have been the last 2 years of the Lions' record? Jared Goff's getting better. Dak Prescott's getting worse in the postseason, it seems. Am I wrong when I say that? He's got 6 touchdowns and no picks. In the last, maybe 1 pick in the last couple playoff games that he's been in. He's getting better. I mean, the Lions have lost, is that right? 8 games the last 2 years? This guy's won more ball games in the last 2 years than Hurts. I mean, Sills isn't Lions defense in the middle of the pack last year. Yeah, Ibanez, they were. And their secondaries, in my opinion, by getting Teron Arnold, I think they upgraded it. Okay, we'll see. Same as I'll say with Cooper DeJean and also with Mitchell. We'll see. Okay, I don't know yet. I want to see him on the field. All right. Still switch from Allen to Goff. No, Allen's the second best quarterback in National Football League. Goff is better than Hurts. No. It's a better quarterback. That's what Xander and I talked about. Hurts is the better athlete. Goff's the better quarterback. Record and numbers dictate it. Resume dictates it. I'm telling you who one guy is. Right? Number 4. Jalen will have a better career. Keep rubbing your magic lamp. Well, today, on May 22nd, he doesn't. Bold goals, Goff has played more years. I'm talking about even his first 4 years, he's outperformed them. Got to a Super Bowl, won an NFC title too. Threw for 4,600 yards, 30 touchdowns. That's his first 4 years. He want to go his first 4? I will too. All right. Goff made it in his second year starting like Hurts? Yeah. Yeah. Number 4. Bobby Slowick. Texans. Boy, this guy was a hot commodity out there. He was a hot candidate. Man, he interviewed everywhere. Everywhere. Would this be a guy you'd like to replace your bum coach with? Bobby Slowick, Houston Texans, as your play calling head coach. That guy did some shit with Stroud last year. And how about this one too, Neil? Look at what he did to Nico Collins. Dude, Nico Collins, I thought he was a decent player. You know who Nico Collins looks like? He looks like a younger version of Cooper Kupp. That dude is good, man. He is a good wide receiver. Unbelievable, man. Just really a good-looking ball player. Hurts would have a ring if too many excuses. Too many excuses. Number 6. So, Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson, OC Lions, Bobby Slowick, Texans, Frank Smith, OC Miami, number 1 right-hand man, to Mike McDaniels. The reason we're doing this is because your guys are right. If you're going to bang on Nick Sirianni, Sills, who do you want him replaced with? I got 10 guys here. And one guy is a question mark. Number 6. Would you elevate Kellen Moore? Hurts has a great year. Xander doesn't believe that he's going to be elevated to head coach if Jalen Hurts has an MVP season. He thinks that they're going to allow him to walk out the room like Shane Steichen. And if Shane Steichen takes his team to the AFC Championship, then you let Kellen Moore become the head coach in Buffalo with Josh Allen after Sean McDermott gets fired. And Kellen Moore becomes the head football coach in Buffalo. And he goes up there and just is a match made in heaven with him. And he goes, and they go on to win 14, 15 games. You're going to allow that to happen? 2 of the last 3 years? And then who are you going to turn around and hire? So you're going to be on that caravan again? Trying to find the right coordinator? Knowing full well the Eagles don't respect their position coaches? Why in the world would you want to become an assistant coach in Philadelphia when you know you have 1 year to prove yourself? And the front office doesn't believe in coaches. They believe in themselves. You've had 9 different coordinators in the last 4 years. That's not an opinion. That's what you've done. Why in the world would I go and want to be a guy where even if I get this, Brian Johnson won 11 games. Sean Desai was a coordinator when they were 10-2. And you want to hear something? They won only 1 more game after they demoted Sean Desai from defensive coordinator. They won 1 more game. You know what he could actually tell people? We were 10-2. We got beat by the Niners and Cowboys. Okay, we did beat the Bills and Chiefs, Rams, Bucks. By the way, how did that Bucks playoff game go without me as the coordinator versus the one that I won earlier in the year? Well, they were a different team. So were we. You got a pretty good leg to stand on. Whether you like Sean Desai or not, he can fight back with a lot of things. Front office made that call. They panicked. If I'm Sean Desai, I don't have any regrets. Maybe not quitting. Maybe not quitting when they did that bullshit and put him out front and put him up in the booth for public abuse. How you doing? Number 7. See, some of you guys have never heard these names. This is what we do here to replace Fredo Sirianni because he's so horrible. Adam Stenovich, OC Green Bay. He works with a Jordan Love, and he works with Matt LaFleur. He should have quit at 10-2. I'm with you, James. Bring a real winner to Philly. Get rid of that puppet. Me too, dog. He's done good work with Love. I think he's done great work with Love, too. Stenovich has done a really nice job. I think Matt LaFleur has proven to me, man, he's a really good coach. Bob says, Sills, I've said this before, how he needs to focus more on his time on building a staff for long-term success. Get off the coordinator merry-go-round. 9 coordinators in 4 years is unprecedented. Do you think Staunton will ever want to be our head? No, I don't. Wayne, I don't believe that he has a goal to be the head football coach anywhere. I don't. None of those coaches will come here or won't have great staffs until Howie's gone. Until that day, he's the general manager and the coach. Sills, I got one for you. Sirianni's not better or worse than the coaching in Detroit. Yeah, okay, guy. Sirianni is a guy who stands on the sidelines waving pom-poms. Has no autonomy in anything he does. You got some people in our media in Philly who believe that guy makes hires. The only guy that person hires is the person that runs the Slurpee machine at the NovaCare Center. Or the parking attendant. Yeah, right here, man. You park next to me. But right here. How about this one? And tell me what you think of this one. So we've named Belichick, Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson, OC Lions, Bobby Slowick, Texans, Frank Smith, OC Miami, Kellen Moore, Adam Stenovich, OC Green Bay. How about this one? Todd Monken, Baltimore Ravens. Reigning MVP. Look what he did with Lamar Jackson last year. MVP. He's the offensive coordinator, play caller. Do I think they got over their skis in that AFC title game against Mahomes? Yes. But doesn't that skill set match Jalen? And there's a coach that coaches that style of player. They went 14 wins last year or 13 wins last year, and they won home field advantage. And the quarterback was the most valuable player. Todd Monken as your offensive coordinator, RPO coach. Of all the coaches I named, those were all drop back guys. There's really no RPO guy. I mean, Todd Monken is a skill set that fits Jalen. Now, that's if you're going with Jalen. Todd Monken with Justin Herbert? I don't think so. These last two, I don't know. Number 9. Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders. This is just a question. I said I'm not sure about this. Deion Sanders. Why, you got a circus act right now? What are you talking about? Nick Sirianni's a circus act. You get this. You got a guy in a building yet. Nobody knows what he does. What do you want us to become, the Cowboys? All right. Feel like feel like Chip. 3-ring shit show. No, hey, nobody in Philly's very. Hey, Barb, I'd bring up Deion Sanders to replace the circus you have already at head coach. And they're like, not Sanders. I wouldn't mind, but he's everything that out in a Howie broom closet. Personality, has culture, and a staff who follows him. Or he won't do that to Howie again. Would Howie and Sanders even get along? Deion Sanders, next head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. If we get Deion, do we get to play North Dakota State? You might get Shador. What if they came as a team package? What if the Eagles somehow had an opportunity to be able to draft Shador Sanders? Would you pass on him? Or Hunter? Holy shit. Travis Hunter? Man, Sanders is going to be a head coach in the NFL, probably in Dallas. Again, folks, I got 10 names here. So I got to be honest, I'd love to bring Gruden back to Philly, giving the NFL and commissioner a big FU. I don't know. All right, number 10. Boy, Travis Hunter, man. In the Eagles secondary, wow. He's the best player in the draft. That edge rusher from Tennessee is pretty good. He's a pretty good-looking ball player and a good-looking prospect. I pay Niner all day. That's one of my criticisms. Hey, Deion, before you start telling people where the hell they're going to play in the NFL, you might want to win more than 4 ball games. Okay? You might. But believe me, that's never stopped people from hiring coaches with losing records in college football. You got to remember something here. When Cliff Kingsbury was hired by the Arizona Cardinals, he had a losing record at Texas Tech. So that's never really been. And if I'm not mistaken, when Steve Mariucci took the 49er job, he was 6-6 at Cal. Number 10. Yeah, Sanders family and friends comes to Philly. I'm not a fan anymore. No time for the shenanigans. Man. That would be some show, though, man. Deion Sanders, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Wow. Would that be ratings? The NFL would, oh my God, unbelievable. Sanders as the head coach of the Eagles would be a primetime television show every single week. Every week. Yeah, I got that. Thank you very much, big guy. All right. How about Eric Bieniemy? Number 10. I think that ship has sailed for him. I think the chances of him becoming a head football coach, it's not going to happen. Okay? Boy, I tell you what, Xander's right. Man, that'd be a ton of fun covering the Eagles and Deion Sanders. Holy shit. That'd be like Jalen who? Deion Sanders, head coach of the Eagles, man. Fuck, can you imagine the Cowboys and the Eagles? Wow. that thing might get NFC championship shares. Wait, Deion is overrated? What? Isn't Bieniemy coaching high school now? I don't know what he's doing. It's a shame. But hey, no. What I'm doing here, Sean, is I'm asking you 10 names. Okay. So I've given you 10 names here. Here we go. Ready? Belichick, Mike Vrabel. I'm going to pick one and then you pick one. Ben Johnson, OC Lions. Bobby Slowick, Texans. Frank Smith, OC Miami Dolphins. Kellen Moore, Eagles. Adam Stenovich, Green Bay OC. Todd Monken, OC Ravens. Deion Sanders, University of Colorado. Eric Bieniemy, longtime OC. Andy Reid would endorse him. Who do you pick? Who would be your guy? I'm going to Texans guy. You're saying Bobby Slowick. That's who you're saying, huh, Joe? Greg saying Ben Johnson or Todd Monken for me. Big Bill, Eagles cheerleader. I thought you were talking Big Bill. Oh, you mean Big Bill? Oh, that guy. Yeah, I forgot. I'm starting to forget about him. Since he's not on JAKIB any longer, I forgot the guy's name. What's his last name? Condarulo? Honestly, I forget his name. I'm not very good in remembering names. So I know once you leave JAKIB, I don't, it's, and you go somewhere else in Philly, get lost. You just get lost. Let's see here. Your level of assholery is unmatched. Come on, man. Oh my God. See, even Xander talks. Come on, man. Really? Saying bad things of big whistles? Oh, hey. It's all good, man. Are you kidding me? Don't be like that, man. I like Bill Carasola. I do. He was a nice guy on our network. I totally dug it, man. If I needed legal help, he's the guy I go to. Oh. Slowick from Houston. Oh. Hey, Flexen, come on, man. You got to take everything with a grain of salt, man. Get your panties in the bye. And Flexen goes, shit cells. I love you too, Flexen. Please hit that like button, you son of a... Oh. Big Bill, the lawyer who started watching football in 7th. Oh, come on, Barb. Barb. You know he played Madden. It would probably be Kellen. Wayne. Could be. Could be, man. Peyton Manning, offensive coordinator. Nah, he wants to own a team, dude. Guys, we're doing good. 128. Please keep hitting the like button here. Oh, it's Slowick. You guys really like Slowick. I'm going to tell you who I want. Wow, look at this one. Barb, did you shave? Shave your face. Damn, Barb. Whew. Man, it's a rough room, but I love it. Hey, Barb, you want to hang out with the fellas? You know, it's what it is. Caitlin Clark wants to be covered like mainstream media. Hey, you got to take the hits, and she is. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Barb, you're hanging with the big boys now. Nothing's off limits. Well, kind of some things, but hey, the kids are out. Hey, she doesn't put. Oh, wait a minute. So Barb doesn't put our show on when her kids are home. Oh, I got it now. I can't have that lane. Can't have any of that. Nobody watches the WNBA. Yeah. Nobody wants Nick Fredo Sirianni back either. How you doing? The Dolphins coach is a good coach, Troy. Here's my guy. I want Ben Johnson to be the next head football coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. I want Ben Johnson. You know why? Here's the one thing with Todd Monken that you have to think about here with Todd Monken. Okay? You have to understand here that Todd Monken here, okay, in case Jalen Hurts has an issue, you going to have a play calling head coach here. All right. We're going to take a time out here. Big Sill's got to take a time out here. Do me a favor. Hit the like button. We're going to reset. Don't forget, Mark Farzetta is going to join us. Hit it. Keep it here. Wait a minute. Xander, where are we right now in the likes hit? Where are we in the likes hit right now? 134. Way ahead of pace from last year. Guys, keep hitting it. We want to get to around 200 to 250. Really cool. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Val Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
the greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Big Stills, I'll tell you what, there is a ton of great stuff right now. Please hit the like button. Mark Farzetta is going to join us. That'll be at the bottom of the hour. All right. Here are the top 5 games for week 1, ranked by CBS. Number 1, Ravens-Chiefs, Thursday night. Yeah, probably game of the week. Reigning MVP versus Super Bowl MVP. Number 2, Jets and 49ers to close out week 1 on Monday night. Aaron Rodgers versus the NFC champions. Okay. Number 3, Rams and Lions. Lions in the NFC title game. Rams in the playoffs. Like it. Number 4, in Brazil. Packers versus Eagles. Can you imagine if that guy Jordan Love beats the pants off of Dak Prescott and then turns around and rips a new one into Jalen? Woo! Guy owns the NFC East. Speaking of the Cowboys, number 5, Cowboys-Browns, Sunday. Those will be your top 5. Eagle players I'm looking forward to seeing play this coming season. I got 10 of them. I'm going to give them to you here in a minute. However, I do want to hit on this. So I saw Bill Belichick is going to endorse Leonard Marshall for the Hall of Fame. Leonard Marshall's a former defensive tackle that played with the Giants during the time when Belichick was the DC in New York with Taylor and Harry Carson and them dudes. He's a damn good player. I wonder how he matched up and stacked up against Fletcher Cox. You know, I say to you that Fletcher Cox is knocking on the door. Let's see if, Belichick is endorsing Leonard Marshall. Okay. Leonard Marshall has 2 world championships to 1. All right. I'm not sure that's that overly significant. They're both champions. Pro Bowls. Leonard Marshall, 3. Fletcher Cox, 6. Doubles them. Sacks. Marshall's got 83.5. They brought more pressure then. Fletcher's got 70. Not horrible, but not exceptional. I'm talking Hall of Fame exceptional. Tackles, Marshall, 714 to 519. Is he in the conversation? Absolutely. If you think Leonard Marshall is a Hall of Fame player, Fletcher Cox is a Hall of Fame player. I mean, the problem is going to come down to who did you think during the Fletcher Cox era were the 2 most dominant defensive tackles? You know, most people are going to circle. Most people are going to circle Ndamukong Suh and Aaron Donald. Fletcher Cox's name's not going to be in there. As a matter of fact, let me take a look at that. Ndamukong Suh. And this is going to be where I think Ndamukong Suh hurts Fletcher. Now, Ndamukong Suh was great early on. Ndamukong Suh stats. Ndamukong Suh. Don't have to go stats. We could just look at his overall numbers here and what he's accomplished. I think he hurts. Now, wait a minute. Fletcher's got more Pro Bowls than him. He was a Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2010. He is a Super Bowl champion, and he made the All-Decade team. If Fletcher didn't make the All-Decade team, it's going to be Donald and Sue. Fletcher Cox.
According to Wikipedia.
He's on the NFL's all-decade team. On the all-rookie team. First team all-pro. 6-time Pro Bowler. Wow. Shit. Dude, it is really close between... How many sacks did Sue have? Dominican Sue. Dominican Sue. How many sacks did he have? He's only 37? Wow. Fletcher has more sacks. No, he has 1.5 more sacks. A couple more tackles. And Fletcher, boy, him and Fletcher Cox, I didn't realize that. They're even, pretty much even across the board. You could make a call that Sue and Fletcher Cox, you could share that with Donald when it came to the two best players during that era next to Aaron Donald. It's pretty close, man. I mean, Dominican Sue, I thought would have had better numbers. Who was more dominant? Man, Fletcher was awful good. But again, I'm bringing it up because Belichick is saying Leonard Marshall. I don't see that. Do I think Leonard Marshall is better than Dominican Sue and Fletcher Cox? I don't. I don't see that. I just don't see that. I mean, he was so, I mean, and Fletcher was Sue was a 3-down D lineman. Niner goes like this. Hey, Niner, you think Bryant Young was better than both those players? Did you think Bryant Young was better than Sue and Fletcher Cox? I don't know. I don't know. Bryant Young just made the Hall of Fame. Okay, he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So, Leonard Marshall, though, better than Fletcher? No way. But, get this. Here's what you have versus what Leonard Marshall has. Leonard Marshall has Bill Belichick pushing him for the Hall of Fame. You know who you have? Bill Asshowitz pushing Eric Allen and Fletcher Cox. You got Dumbowitz pushing him. Who do you think is going to get more of a push to the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Just keeping score here, guy. Okay? What's that thing Xander says there? Your level of assholery is unmatched. No, you haven't seen the full Big Sills. That's not been on display in a couple decades. You haven't seen the old school Big Sills. It was quite unbearable. I've actually tempered myself a tad. A tad. Wouldn't go crazy, but yeah, I'm not quite what I used to be. Somebody told me to do something, I do the direct opposite of it all the time. Hey, can you go a little lighter on the Eagles or the Bucks? Sure. Hey, no problem. GM sucks. You must have been insufferable. Oh, man. Why do you think they lied? Hey, People had to lie to get me fired. That's how bad it was. Because they couldn't fire me over numbers or revenue. It was impossible. Big Sills was a rotating monster. All right. Damn. Barb's calling me a big cooch. What's that? Why are you calling me a big cooch? What's a big cooch? Why am I being called a big cooch? What's that? I don't even know what that means. Can you help me out there, Barbara? What's a big cooch? Barb, don't say it. Don't say, if you're going to say it when the kids aren't home. Please hit the like button. Oh my God, we're off the rails. Normal. Oh. Cooch, sound it out. No, I know what a cooch is. Oh my God. Am I saying no? Hey, Xander, am I saying the word right? Is it cooch? Oh shit, man. Oh, not a little. It's cooch sounds like choo choo chug. Please stop. Please. Sound it out, Sills. Cooch. Like, hey, Prince. Coochie coochie. Hey, am I sounding it out right, Prince? Coochie coochie coo. Am I close? Coochie cooch cooch coo. Sound it out. Coochie cooch. I am sounding it out. This is how I see it. Coochie. Sills is a big coochie coo coo. First syllable. Coo-chie. Oh my God. Oh my. First syllable. Coo-chie. Oh man. All right. Enough of that. I'm all cooched out now. Oh man. Please hit the like button or the discuss button. I don't know. We're all good here, man. Oh. No. Thank you, Neil. All right. Eagle players that Big Sills is looking forward to seeing. Coochie Sirianni's middle name. Nick Coochie Coo Sirianni. Coochie Sirianni. That's the new head coach of the Eagles. What's his name? It's Coochie. Sound it out. First syllable. Coochie. All right. Senor, I think you're right. Back to regular programming. I think you're definitely right. All right. Yeah. Hey, let's not drive something into the ground like Howie tries to drive his draft picks on defense into the ground, or that McMullen and Xander think that Nick Sirianni's making coaching hires. Let's not put that. I am the walrus. Like that song, actually, by JL. Nice job, Slagger. Don't show your age too much. Where's that Cooch Farsi? He's at the bottom of the hour. Thank you, Barb. He'll be with us. Please hit the like button. All right. Here are my 10 Eagles that I want to see this upcoming season. Obviously, I want to see what Hurts does. Hey, in fair assessment and fair evaluation, here's what I want to see. I want to see Jalen cut down the you know what? All kidding aside, I don't know about $4,000, 30 touchdowns. Just stop the picks and the turnovers. Be careful with the ball. I mean, isn't it crazy? Jalen had, you know what? I was reading something on WI. You want to hear what IP's saying now about Jalen's 23 season? He didn't play horrible. Mouthpieces for the Eagles. He's lying. ESP didn't say that. Some host said it. Hurts didn't have a horrible 2023 season. I'll tell you this, it wasn't good enough. Isn't it crazy? Jalen had lesser numbers in 22 and he was an MVP candidate. What does that tell you? It's not really about the numbers. It's about the turnovers. You cut that if Jalen Hurts said, hey, we kind of broached this last year, or a couple days ago, we may even said it. If Jalen has 9 turnovers, how far do the Eagles go? Christopher goes, Hurts was an MVP candidate last year. Jalen Hurts was 3rd in turnovers last year. And a full season, son, is 17 games, not 11. How far do the Eagles go if Hurts has 9 turnovers? How far? How far? What does BJ say? Allen has the most INTs in the league. Last 3 years, he's second only to Mahomes in wins. Hasn't really mattered. How's that? He's thrown 100 touchdowns, Hurts 60. He's only got 8 more turnovers, actually, in the last 3 years than your boy does. How you doing? And he plays against Dimes Jones. He plays against Dimes Jones and Baker Mayfield. How you doing? Play somebody decent, dude. And beat them in the playoffs. Might be nice. Who's the biggest win Hurts has in his playoff career? Christian McCaffrey. Hey, here's the biggest win he has in his playoff career. Christian McCaffrey. Or Josh Johnson. Right? Purdy played 3 plays. Congratulations. And then Purdy turned around the regular season like you gave Hurts that big-time glowing victory over Mahomes and crushed, as Arnold would say, he crushed you. Purdy crushed you. He crushed you. Crushed you. It just shows you how at least Allen loses to Burrow or Mahomes in the postseason. Your guy loses to Baker Mayfield. I'll give you the Tom Brady one. Sure. Rest of them. And his big wins are Dimes Jones and Christian McCaffrey. Hey, Niner all day, right? Christian McCaffrey, he quarterbacked in that NFC title game too, right? Dimes Jones. 2-3 in the postseason. This guy's got one more win than Lamar. At least Lamar's in the AFC. Dimes Jones, that's a good one, Barb. Dimes Jones has at least a playoff road win I love that. Yes, sir. Wishbone doesn't. He's never won on the road, has he? Wow. So Jalen Hurts what is he on the road? He's, let's say, in the playoffs. He's 0-2. Super Bowl and Tampa and Brady. So he's 0-3 in the road in the postseason. He's lost all his home games. He's lost all of his games on the road. Better get that home field. This guy's 0-3 in the playoffs on the road. I didn't realize that. 0-3. Hey, you might want to win a game on the road. Mahomes had to go on the road to do it. 0-3 on the road. 0-3. Prince goes, Allen has 47 interceptions and 101 touchdowns. Hurts has 30 INTs and 61 touchdown passes. James Jones. All right. Here's number 49ers made Hurts tuck his tail for the rest of the... Oh, man. That is really wrong, you Niner all day. You're saying that he beat up Jalen Hurts so bad that the guy had ghost, Sam Darnold ghost, the rest of the year. Damn. All you guys, man, I know you love the guy. C clip, 15 INTs and 5 fumbles. Wow, 20. He had 20 turnovers? I only thought he had 18. 8, M clip. Is that right? Jalen had 20 turnovers? Okay. Easy. Easy. Oh, huh? Oh, yeah, I forgot the coaching staff. That's right. All right. Okay. M clip, that's not what Allen with this talent would be insane. Absolutely insane. Can you imagine? All right, let's move on. Next guy. Saquon Barkley. I'm looking forward. Hey, honestly, here's what I think Barkley's going to do. No. Well, wait. He won't be healthy all 17 games. He'll probably play 13. So 13 games, 980, 8 touchdowns, 13, 25 catches, 300, that's a reach, and 2. 10 touchdowns, not bad. But he's going to be great in blitz pickup. So he'll probably he ain't going to play 17 ball games because that's not who that guy is. He ain't going to get healthier as he gets older. Probably around 980, 13 ball games, 8 touchdowns, 25 catches, 300 yards, 2 catches in the air, something like that. Well, Twist goes, Hurts won't play 17 games. Now you're saying Barkley won't. Well, he's only played 2 years in his 6 years, a full 16-game or 17-game schedule. I'm just telling you who the player is. And you're saying that he's going to be something he's not. Consistently healthy and play all season. He doesn't do that. Let's see the last time that Barkley's actually played a 17-game season or a full season. I'd be interested to know. Saquon Barkley stats. on what this guy's done here. Let's see how many games he's played, how many seasons he's played in the last couple of years here. Okay, he missed 3 games last year. He missed 1 game the year previous, which is great. Missed 4 games before that. And in the last 4 years, he missed 14 games. So he missed 14 games, 4 games, 1 game, 3 games. So how many games in the last 4 years has he missed? 14, 3, 17, 1, 18, and then 3. He's missed 21 games in the last 4 years. Is that a lot? You think 21 games missed in 4 years is a lot? So when I say that he'll miss and he'll play 13 games, that's pretty much right on his average, isn't it? And how many games that he misses? Don't be mad because we're telling you the truth again. $5 a year average Joe. So he's missed 5 games a year. Okay. Last 4 years. Right. That's kind of where I'm at. He's not going to play all 5. He's not going to play a 17-game season. That's not what he does. But he's going to now, and he's older. Why do you add these crazy narratives that don't exist, that have never existed with players? Some of this shit is crazy. All right. Bryce Huff. I'm going to be very interested to see how he's played. Are you going to start him? He's never been really productive as a tackler. Look at his numbers. It's atrocious. I don't think he's ever had more than 20 tackles in a 16-game season. This guy gets 1 tackle a game. And last year was his only production game. How are you going to play him? Is that guy going to replace Hassan Reddick? I think not. There's not a chance in the world that Bryce Huff has 27 sacks in the next 2 years. Not a chance. Not a chance. He's a good role player. Actually, you know what he would have been great on? He would have been great on that 22 team. He'd have been great. Number 4, Dallas Goedert. I'm interested to see if Hurts can find him. How Kellen Moore is going to use him. This is the Big Sills top 10 Eagles I'm looking forward to seeing in 2024. Give me just here on a May 22nd. What do you think Goddard's numbers are going to look like? I'm going to write them down here, see if they kind of match up here. And you're paying the guy $15.5. You're paying him $15 million. Look at Christopher and his stupid narrative. He thinks I want the Eagles to lose. I don't want you to lose. Who the hell wants to cover a football team that's got 4 wins? I'd rather cover a football team with 11 wins that completely self-inflicted itself. Much more drama and content to that than covering an organization like the Jags. Who would want to cover the Jags? It's better covering a football team that self-inflicts itself. Like you do. 9 coordinators in 4 years. Way easier. You already, that is my prediction. Between 7 and 9, you're going to be in that category. Between 7 and 9 wins. Somewhere in there. Somewhere in there. Yeah, no, I got it. I looked at the schedule. I could see you winning 9, but I'm with 7 and 9 in there, or 7 wins to 9. Yeah, absolutely. That's not wishing. You say Super Bowl. Okay. Goddard, 750 and 65 catches. Holy shit, Troy. Troy, I want to show you something. Look at you, Troy. 64 catches, 700. At 15.5 a year. How's that for you, man? You and me, Troy. Troy, is that 15 million bucks? Is that worth 15 million bucks, Troy? 64 catches and 700 yards. Absolutely not. I don't know. And by the way, how many games is this guy going to miss? 5, 4, 3, whatever it is. He'll miss something because you can always count on one thing. You can always count on the Eagles meddling in their own affairs and Dallas Goedert being hurt. They may draft a tight end next year. Let's see here. Goddard needs to be replaced soon. I agree. No way you think 9 wins. I do. Your defense got worse. Super Bowl year was a bullshit injury. Not sure what you're talking about. Oh, yeah, of course. Why is he hurt every year? Every year, Chris, he's missed games. Every year. Every year, he's missed ball games. Every year. Next guy. Devin White. What's your expectations for Devin White this year? How many? You think he has 150? Here. How about this? Let's do this again. LJ loves this. So do I, actually. It's one of my absolute favorites. Because you know why? I don't want to say anything to misquote anything here. So, you always got to be accurate.
Here's the definition.
TJ Edwards.
According to Wikipedia, TJ Edwards is
Let's see here. TJ Edwards stats. Okay. Here's the last year in Philadelphia for TJ Edwards. Had 159 tackles. Does Devin White have 159 tackles this year? Sills, are we not upgraded since last year? No. Where? On defense? Where have you been upgraded? Twiz, Hall of Fame Edwards, compared to anything you've had, he's Ray Lewis. He's Ray Lewis. You bet. Compared to shit you've had the last 2 years, he's Ray Lewis. Yeah. He's Ray Lewis. What does Devin White do? It's not the same topic. I've got 10 different guys here. Wow. I'm going to ask Farzetta that. The last year TJ Edwards was in Philly, he had 159 tackles. You think Devin White puts 159 up? You think he puts 159 up? Can you get this? TJ Edwards is Ray Lewis to anybody you've had in the last 2 years playing linebacker. He's Ray Lewis. Whew. Man, Upgrade? All right. I want to start it out here, though. Well, let's bring our guy, Mark Farzetti, in, who starts our broadcast off each and every single morning here on JAKIB Sports. Farzi.
What's happening?
Love your show, dude. Really
Back
do.
at you.
Watch it
Back
every
at you.
morning, and I can't thank you. Hey, Devin White. Does he have 159 tackles this year with that Eagle defense?
No. And I love the question because it maybe inspires some sort of optimism for people, but the answer to that question is an emphatic no. And I don't see, with his injury history, how he's had some injury issues obviously already in his career, how the Eagles don't really value that position to begin with. I don't really see him getting – I'd be shocked if he even got over 100 tackles in this defense, unfortunately. The Eagles, as we know, don't value that position. They're buying low for a reason. It's what they do, and the perfect example of that is not only TJ Edwards, but also before that, Alex Singleton. Let's not forget for a second that they had two undrafted rookies get signed. They both led your team in tackles, first Singleton, and then after that, TJ Edwards. And the minute they grew a little, not huge out of the role, but a little bit too big for the role, they went elsewhere. So, no, I don't see anybody like Devin White being a guy that even lead this team in tackles, unfortunately.
All right, there's a big story coming out, and I called some of the people down in Miami about Vic Fangio. And, Farzi, I can't help rig the question here. When I hear guys complaining and moaning and bitching and crying about discipline, and, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to sit here. I don't know if Vic Fangio is the right coordinator, and I don't have any idea if that 34 is going to work. But I don't want to hear players crying about a guy who was coaching you hard, and because you had your little self in a titty bind down there because you didn't like the way you were being handled and the guy was talking to you. Well, welcome to a real coach. And I don't know, man. That to me, if I'm the Eagles, I think that's a wanted and needed thing to have a coach like that in that locker room.
Well, you know what? In a way, it kind of balances out Nick Sirianni in terms of the pat on the back, best friend type of, good cop type of deal, where Vic Fangio, and I don't even want to put him in the light of a bad cop, but if there is a bad cop among the head coach and the two coordinators, that would be Vic Fangio. And I also think that I kind of like the idea of this story coming out about what a bad guy Vic Fangio is. And it's not just recently. You think about how when things just hit the fan with the Dolphins and the Eagles had that end of the season press conference and the story broke that Vic Fangio was coming to the Eagles when Adam Schefter dropped that information. I like the idea of them setting this up like he is some hard ass, because these players are going to be gearing up for some hard ass. And the minute Vic Fangio says anything along the lines of, "Hi, how's it going?" and seems somewhat of a nice guy, they're going to go, it's not that bad. But the minute they mess up, the minute they do something they're not supposed to do, the minute they don't communicate, which is huge in this Vic Fangio defense, well, then I am sure he's going to call those players out. But I think he's got a great opportunity here to make a great first impression with the players here. I think he still has a good veteran leader in Brandon Graham, still on this defense that can help kind of champion his cause. And then you look at some of the younger guys here that you have guys like Jordan Davis and you have guys like Jalen Carter that are going to emerge into that leadership role as well on this team. And they are going to have no other choice, because if there's anything that I really took away from even Fletcher Cox's press conference, it's what DeMeco Ryan said to him, which was no matter the scheme, no matter the coordinator, great players find ways to be great. And Vic Fangio is going to put these players in some tough positions. Will it be the best possible position for that particular player to make plays? No, it's going to switch off from time to time. But Fangio, I think, is not going to take any BS, and I think it's a fantastic sign that Jordan Davis is coming into these OTAs in such fantastic shape. I don't know if you saw the picture, but that shows that he's got, I think, some respect, not only for himself, for the game, but also his new defensive coordinator who's going to be running the ship from now on.
Well, I'll tell you a little bit of insight here. Clint Hurt and I are close.
Okay.
I'm a Hurricane guy. And he had a come to Jesus conversation with him. You're either going to be great or you're not. There's no bell curve grading in the NFL. You're kind of good. That's not how it works. He goes, and something that we were always instilled with, when we were coached was this: it takes no athleticism, Mark, to be in shape. You don't have to be an athlete to be in shape. It's willpower. Think about that. And, that's what Clint was trying to express to him. It takes you don't have to be a great athlete. You don't have to be a great football player to be in shape. It tells more to a coach that you're prepared and you're willing to be prepared. And like what you said, he's coming in with respect, being in shape. That right there sets the table for him where the coaches can rely on him because he's doing one thing that, guess what? You can't coach. I shouldn't be giving you hall passes or rewards or slaps on the back for being in shape. You should be in shape because you want to be in shape. So Clint was impressed with that. Jalen Carter also. Both of those guys, it looks like both of those guys are trying to feed off of one another. So I think that's a really great sign where those two guys.
Yeah, and look, it's OTAs. So we're talking about
sports. Got to be careful.
Right. Of course, yeah, it's all grain of salt. It's all, it is what it is. But I it's still them showing up at work.
Right.
I mean, let's not forget. Like people could say, well, you're not going to set the depth chart today. So let's just get that out of the way. It's like the people with the Phillies that want to say they haven't played anybody. It's like, thanks, that they have a schedule. It just kind of has to play out. But like when you look at these two guys, you see the phenomenal talent. When I look at Jordan Davis, I mean, I just look at guys that just wants to go out there and move bodies. Jalen Carter, I know you're extremely high on Jalen Carter, and so am I. Most of Philadelphia is. These guys together just want to move bodies. And the task they're going to be charged with, when you're talking about a defensive line that is going to be tasked with getting after the quarterback, stopping the run, not a lot of help when you talk about blitz packages and all that from Vic Fangio. We all know that going into it. So you got to win your one-on-one battles. You also have to try to win every once in a while those one-on-two battles where you're double-teamed in the interior of the defensive line. So the fact that they're taking it this serious and this early going in just the OTAs, the fact that the last season ended so piss poor, no other way to say it, for both these players, most notably Jordan Davis. I mean, I never heard of a sophomore wall. You know what I mean? I always hear of the rookie wall. I never heard of the sophomore wall. With Jordan Davis, he created the sophomore wall, and it was about week 14 of last season. So seeing him come in with respect for the game, respect for his talent, respect for his new coaching staff, I think the sky's going to be the limit for him coming into his third season in the NFL.
Do you believe that Bryce Huff replaces Hassan Reddick's numbers of 27 sacks in the last 2 years?
No. I really want to believe. But listening to Vic Fangio talk about Bryce Huff, and look, I hope I am wrong. I love all the things people say about him. I haven't seen it yet. I have seen Hassan Reddick continue to perform. To say that even in the next 2 years, this season and next season, that Bryce Huff is going to be a better edge rusher, a better outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it, than Hassan Reddick over the next 2 years, that's a tough sell. That's a very tough sell, and that's what he's being graded on. And just real quick, Sills, I know you and I were in the same boat with this. Did Hassan Reddick get that contract extension yet? I'm just curious. Maybe I know,
unless it fell through the cracks, Farzy. I haven't heard anything about a contract extension.
I haven't either. I mean, I just mowed the lawn, so maybe I was off the grid for a second.
I don't get why you just didn't. And hey, that's a great comment.
Of course.
Going in, if you got $30 million in cap space, you had the money to pay both the guys. Why did you not want to pay both the guys? Keep him on the team like you did Hargrave, like we talked about before. You could add two edge rushers. You could add one guy last year with 11.5 and who's got 51 sacks in the last 4 years, and another guy who maybe the Eagles think he's coming into his own. And you could have brought another opportunity and would have helped your secondary and your youthful secondary. Why didn't you you had the money. Why didn't they do it?
I don't, it still bothers me. But I want to make sure I do answer your question when it comes to Bryce Huff. When I hear Vic Fangio talk about a $51 million player as if he's trying out for the team, that's not a great sign.
No.
And also, let's look at the numbers. You're talking about a guy that played around this, so 41% of the snaps, 43% of the snaps. I don't know if enough people realize yet that that's a Brandon Graham number from last year.
Yeah.
And as much as we all love BG, Brandon Graham even said he's on his farewell tour. Okay, so his career, his stats are going this way. His snaps are going this way. Bryce Huff, he's going to have to take to replace the talent, the versatility, of a Hassan Reddick, not just in terms of whether he's going after the quarterback or dropping back. I'm not talking about that type of versatility. I mean about getting that angle on the edge and getting after the quarterback or being able to adjust and stop the run just to apply pressure like that. Bryce Huff has to show that more than 43% of the snaps, he could do that. Not just 43, not just 45, not just 50, but 73% of the snaps, Sills. I want to believe in Bryce Huff. I want him to prove me wrong. And look, Howie Roseman, great job, blah, blah, blah. This offseason's been great. We all know. But if I had to say there was one thing that kind of makes me scratch my head, it's Bryce Huff over Hassan Reddick. I'd love to believe that he's going to be better than Hassan. But the Eagles are buying low, in essence, on this edge rusher with the hopes that he's going to be better than Hassan Reddick over the next 3 years. I just don't see that happening.
Help me out on what you just said, and hopefully I didn't read it wrong on what you just said, because I want it to land where I think you wanted it to land. Did you say that Vic was talking about Bryce as another dude that's on the roster and on the defensive side of the ball?
You heard the answer. You heard the answer.
How about this? How about this? I actually like that, and I'll tell you why. He's going to play the best guy for the position. I'm telling you, Mark, there's going to be headbutting with Howie Roseman and Vic, because you already see on the depth chart, they got that Braun guy in there over Nakobe. Mm-hmm. He's in there already. That's not who that's already a bad sign. Like you said, they're in helmet and fucking shorts, and he's not on the first team taking first team reps. Mm-hmm. Vic's got him out of there because he doesn't trust him. I'm going to tell you flat out, man, that's another great sign for Fangio. He's going to play the best 11, no matter where they're drafted, whoever that looks like. That's a change in direction when it comes to the front office telling Doug Peterson who to play on Sundays.
I really find this interesting. I think the Eagles, I mean, when they went to and won the Super Bowl, they had a big personality defensive coordinator in Jim Schwartz.
Oh,
I mean, Jim, he's not a pusher.
He wanted to fight Jim Harbaugh on the field. I mean,
I wouldn't have blamed him.
He's a tough dude, man.
I'm not like a Harbaugh hater or anything like that, but man, I wouldn't have blamed him because that was bull. Anyway, it was bull. And I'll never forget the now, Bob Lang, right?
Yeah.
Am I saying? Yeah, Bob Lang.
Yeah,
now the Eagles PR guy.
Yeah.
He was the guy in the middle of all that in Detroit. But anyway, they have a big personality. They had a big personality when they won the Super Bowl, Jim Schwartz. We all remember that. They got a big personality in Vic Fangio. And one thing I will say about Vic Fangio, I have said I do have it in the back of my mind. It's not a concern. But, you know, when you play through the mind, and we all overthink this, but for me personally, I look at them like, okay, if things really start to go sour, was this just some cush job with Vic Fangio getting a retirement gig, close to mom, close to the kids, you know, close to home? He threw out the Palladium reference where he got his meals when he was coaching the Philadelphia and Baltimore Stars, you know, and I'm like, I love all that. But if it's just a cush retirement gig, the other side of it is, all right, if I am going to coach for a year or two more, then I'm not going to take any guff from Howie Roseman telling me who's available for me on defense on game day. Like, this is if you guys really want me, and you guys wanted me a year ago, speaking as Vic Fangio, if you wanted me even a year ago or even more than that, then guess what? I'm picking my players. You're not telling me who's available on my defense on game day. I would be very interested to see and learn in the behind-the-scenes goings-on when it comes to that, to see if Howie just said, all right, yeah, you're here, fine. If Jeffrey Lurie said, Howie, if we're hiring him, he's making the decision on who's playing. You get him the best players you think you can get him, but he's going to take it on game day. That I'd be very curious to learn.
What do you read into Bradbury not being there? Do you think they told him not to show up? Because I'll tell you what, if I came off a shit year like that, I know it's not mandatory, but if I come off a shit year like that, don't you want, when you just drafted 2 corners, I mean, Mark, I'm not missing very many things right now.
No.
Hey, let's hire 4 new hosts. Wait a minute. What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, you know the writing on the wall. Hey, we just hired 4 new weekend guys and an overnight guy. These guys were great. And you're like, oh, man, I'll be in that office in 2 months. Hey,
right.
Right? So I mean, you're not missing shit, right?
No, and then think about what Howie said. I mean, we don't got to be Columbo over here. You know what I'm saying? Nice work, detective. Howie Roseman said there's got to be competition at the position, and then he drafts 2 corners. I mean, what the hell, man? Like, what do I think of James Bradberry not being there? I think we should get used to James Bradberry not being there. I think James Bradberry should get used to not being there. I think the Eagles, other Eagles players, members of the secondary, should get used to James Bradberry not being there. That's what I think of James Bradberry not being there. Get used to it because he ain't going to be here. June 1st is approaching faster and faster and faster. So when it comes to the mandatory, June 2nd, June 5th, I think it is. Yeah. Oh, he ain't going to be there either. So, in terms of him not being there, tip of the iceberg, friend. Tip of the iceberg.
You don't have to be Columbo. Very good. And a very good Italian reference, too, by the way.
Oh, come on now.
Gotcha. Speaking of Italians, yesterday Angelo was on. I think the Eagles are 1-3 going into the bye. Now, check it out here.
Okay.
Packers, Falcons, Saints, Bucks, bye. I got them at 2-2. If they're 2-2 or 1-3 going into the bye, how long do they stay with Nick Sirianni? Do you think they're committed on running through the tape with him this year? Or do you think there's something to the fact that Kellen Moore could be given the interim? See how that dynamic works between Jalen and him being an interim. And if it works out well, at the end of the year, they get to the playoffs, they win the East. That's where they name him the head coach, because a great way to replace Nick is a slow start.
Oh, absolutely. It's the only way. If you really have it, I don't really have it against Nick Sirianni. I hope Nick Sirianni really learned a lot about himself this offseason, and he comes out and he's stick with the Italians. Vince Lombardi when he comes back out. You know what I mean?
He's a white sauce guy. I doubt it. Go ahead.
But that is so specific. I hope everybody gets that. But when it comes to Nick Sirianni, I'm not rooting against the guy. I want him to do well. I don't want to go through another head coaching change and all that stuff. But the only way, if you're really rooting against him, is that the Eagles have to be bad. So you have to, as they say, cut off your nose to spite your face as this goes.
But
so
Mark, I think even if they're good, he's gone, because are you really going to let Kellen Moore walk out the building? And here's the point. You've had 9 coordinators that you have changed out in 4 years on offense and defense. Yeah. When do you get off the conveyor belt?
Well, that's the vicious cycle. That's why I thought Nick Sirianni should have been gone at the end of last year. Because, all right, real quick, Sills, name a time in the NFL where a team had a deep playoff run, won a Super Bowl, made it to the Super Bowl, and they're like, firing the head coach, promoting the offensive coordinator. That doesn't happen. It only happens. Antonio Pierce, perfect example of it on the defensive side of things, defense coordinator, head coach for the Raiders. It's the only time you really see stuff like that happen is when, stuff hits the fan, and the next thing you know, the head coach is gone. You got an interim, and you go, I like this guy. And then he gets a head coaching gig. So if you really don't want Nick Sirianni here in Philadelphia, and I can understand why I have downgraded him. I know the term is CEO head coach. I have said this, I think, to you before. He's a regional manager head coach. He's not even a CEO anymore. But if this team somehow finds a way to win with him being that good cop, if they find a way to win with him being that clubhouse, locker room manager, whatever, well, then they're going to stick with him, and Kellen Moore is going to move on. Because let's not forget, as you and I have talked about many times before, what's the number one job as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles? It's to let Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman know they're in charge. After that, everything falls into place. After that, all right, yeah, you go ahead. You give me your offensive ideas, but you better make me, as Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, feel like we have the power. That's the number one prerequisite on the resume.
That guy couldn't run a Sunoco on the New Jersey Turnpike, let alone be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He's not qualified.
Wow.
To be the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, and I'm talking to Sunoco's where the guys still have to pump your gas.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of shit there. I mean, I've never seen anywhere on the planet. Everyone's like, how come? It's a union thing, It's the Paisans in Jersey. What do you want out of me? All right. Go back to Jordan Davis a little bit. Do you think he's been a disappointment?
2 years, I'm going to say not a disappointment. And I don't really like the idea of, you got to wait 3 years to judge a draft. I was like, okay, well then I'll do a show in 3 years. Instead, you got to do a show 5 days a week. All right. Like it's pass fail, as you pointed out, and referencing Clint Hurt and all those guys, you're looking at this type of defensive line. They need him. Like they need him, and I can't remember a time where I looked at the Eagles defensive line and went, they're a little thin at defensive line. And I mean, you're talking about Howie Roseman every single year at the draft. Well, we know our philosophy is building through the trenches and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't feel like that this time around, unfortunately. So they are banking on Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams. That's what they're banking on. That's what they're banking on, to be Fletcher Cox, to be Javon Hargrave, to be Milton Williams, I guess. That's who they're banking on these guys to be. But as far as Jordan Davis goes, he hasn't been a disappointment because I've seen more than just flashes. I have seen him take on double teams and win. I have seen him have it's been a little few and far between, especially at the end of the season, as we all know. But those first 10 weeks of the season, you see the force that is to be reckoned with once he learns how to manage his conditioning and his stamina. And again, look, you talk about not reading a lot into OTAs. I'm reading a lot from a picture at the Eagles charity event. All right. And when he drops that many LBs and looks like he is that ready to rumble, I'm going to buy into it because I know what the problem has been. And to see him addressing that problem and hear you talk about that story right there with their defensive line coach as well, that's a great thing to hear about Jordan Davis. And for me, it hasn't been a disappointment because I've seen the flashes. Overall, I have a lot of optimism about the rest of his career in the NFL. I need to see it last through 17 games of an NFL schedule. And that's when he'll really show you how worthy he is of that first-round pick.
Couple last questions here for you. 51 games that Jalen Hurts has played in as a starter. I'm not saying you, Farzy, but why are people so convinced? It's been 51 starts. You've had 2 okay seasons, 1 really good. I mean, why are you giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be better? I mean, what has he proven to you in 3 completely different years that he's been in the league? And it's 51 games. We're not talking about 17 games or 24 games where, hey, there's still some time. You're talking about a lot of football here. This is 62 he's been involved in. Mm-hmm. He's been in the league for years now, 4. I mean, why do people give him the benefit that he's going to all of a sudden transform himself back to 22?
My takeaway is a couple things from Jalen Hurts. One is, if I learned anything from the Carson Wentz fiasco, it's how much a guy needs it between the ears. If I learned anything from the Ben Simmons fiasco, it's work ethic. And I look at Jalen Hurts as a guy that has the determination and the mindset to go out there and be great. And you could say that it's Jeffrey Lurie just talking up his guy. I've never heard an owner talk about an athlete in any sport the way Jeffrey Lurie spoke about Jalen Hurts. And his quote from before last year was he's never been around somebody that has a extreme dedication to be phenomenal. That's deifying somebody. That is the highest of praise you can give an athlete. And I think there's huge notes of truth to that. And ultimately, that's what makes me have faith in terms of what Jalen Hurts' career will give the city of Philadelphia. In terms of something more tangible, you talk about that 53 games. You're talking about 30 of those games where he's been a leading MVP candidate. You're talking about all of 2022. You're talking about going into week 13 of last year. He was the MVP favorite in the NFL. Was he, to me, still playing at the same level that he was at in 2022? No, but he was the lead. He was the odds-on favorite to win the MVP, and then everything went to hell. Everything went to hell. A lot of that's on the quarterback. A lot of that's on the coaching staff. Some of it has to do with injuries, but when it comes to Jalen Hurts, you're talking about a 30-game stretch there where he's competing with Patrick Mahomes. He goes to a Super Bowl, takes his team to the playoffs again for a 3rd straight year, is the odds-on favorite to be the MVP in the following season to that as well before everything went to hell. That's why I have faith in Jalen Hurts. And I put it this way. If there's any silver lining, and I'm not a silver lining guy, but if you had to go to it, if you don't come out of the gates firing with this offense, as you and I have talked about many times before, there's no excuses for Jalen Hurts this year. There's it's a rookie defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator. Hell with that. This guy's got 5 years experience. He's got a number 1 offense. Well, the weapons around him are all pros. So what the hell are you talking about? They're of that talent level. So no excuse. Like, what are you going to do? Blame Cam Jurgens? Like, I don't think so. Because then you're blaming Jason Kelsey de facto, who's helping coach this guy up at the same time. And he's always around the NovaCare complex. How about that? Jason Kelsey's around the NovaCare complex, so he gets a free lift. I'm sure he's hurting, let me tell you. Anyway, but I that's why, to answer your question, that's why I still have faith in Jalen Hurts. So, yeah, you could go ahead and say me. You can put it on me.
Oh, okay,
Blame me.
then I'll go. You have all this faith in him. Why wasn't he part of being a problem solver then last year at the end of the meltdown?
Absolutely valid. That is still a question I have, but I have faith because of what I've seen from him on the football field for those 30 games. Like, here's the thing. I don't understand.
You think there's more of a sample size of excellence than there is of...
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Hell yeah. And there's also a sample size, especially when you talk about...
comment.
Put it this way. One of the things I really loved about Jalen Hurts, even before he was ever in an MVP conversation, was when all the stuff was being talked about Aaron Rodgers, and not just talk about Russell Wilson, but like legit reports of the Eagles offering Russell Wilson a deal. And Russell Wilson
had a deal on the table. He voided it. And
Russell Wilson, I believe, even commented on that on his podcast. But
yes, he voided it.
Jalen Hurts, through that entire he was nobody. Every time he was talked about, every time they brought it up to him, hey, the Aaron Rodgers thing, this, that, in training camp, when he's supposed to be getting ready for his dream to be accomplished. Was he distracted? Did he turtle up? Did he cry? No. He said, I'm above it all. I have a job to do, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let anything distract me from things that I can control. And I just thought, man, if you're coaching up an athlete, a young athlete, that's the exact mindset you want that player to have. And that's why I have faith. What really matters for athletes is, I think, of all the people I've talked to, and you've certainly talked to more than I have, and you've been in the trenches literally with those guys. But what really impresses me are the guys that have the mental fortitude to say, to hell with everything else, I'm going to control what's in front of me. And that's what Jalen Hurts has.
Hey, Mark, that's why I failed in Tampa. It's because, no, honestly, it's because
that's why I failed freshman year in high school.
Hey, I failed with the Bucks because I couldn't overcome the losing and the poor coaching. And I didn't have all the things that I had learned at Miami with Jimmy and all them guys went to hell because you know what I did? I allowed the environment, the poor coaching, and everything out of position, not being in the proper position, the shitty coaching, all of it plays a factor in a guy's success. There's no question about environment. And the good ones, like this guy, rise above it. And they excel no matter what's in the building. And there is, I believe you're right. And there's something to that. Well, I want to expand that then with this. Okay. You, Eagle fans, have amnesia. Or you're delusional sometimes on things and you have great passion, which is awesome. And I love it. And I told Angie this yesterday. However, why are you giving the full team a pass? And why are you assuming with this schedule, they're going to win 13, 12 games when they still haven't really addressed the meltdown of a year ago on what happened? The coach is still in the building. Some of the same decision makings are still being made. The spending or the lack thereof money on defense. Look, I'm not saying anything about the rookies. I don't know who's going to be good yet. Like you said, it's helmets and shorts. We'll find out if Teron Arnold or if Quinyon Mitchell, who the better guy was. We'll find that out real soon. It's 3 months away. Why are people going, oh, we're going to win 12, 13 games when you're coming off of a football team that went nuclear on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, that really did suck. And I don't really believe in passes for anybody, which is why both coordinators got fired.
You think that was an anomaly?
At the end of last year?
Yes.
I'll put it to you like this. It wasn't an anomaly if you kept that coaching staff together as was. That was going to happen again, which is why you needed to do all but pull the pin on just about everything when it came to that coaching staff. Nick Sirianni is still the head coach of this football team. And I'm disappointed in his answer to the question from Tim McManus of ESPN that we all know. And, the basic was, what is it you say you do here? But if you're a head coach of a football team, Sills, and someone says to you, what's your role? If your answer and this is where you want to talk about giving a pass? This is where I'd give a head coach a pass to be a total dick. Okay? You want to, as a head coach, you want to ask me what my job is? Like, not to take a little bit of offense to that kind of answer, that kind of question. I would have had a lot more respect for Nick Sirianni if he would have been like, what the hell do you think my job? I'm the head coach of this football team. So
you
run
wanted
the
an
show.
answer like the Denver Nugget coach gave that one reporter.
Mike,
how do you feel and what's your feelings right now? And
honesty.
Got knocked out.
Yeah. I wanted something like that. But look, I think they addressed the problem that you did not have a good offensive coordinator. You had a defense between your two position coaches or your offense and defensive coordinator. You had 1 year of experience in the role. Between the two of them combined. Now you got what, 25 years? Vic Fangio, 25 years with Kellen Moore.
Yep.
Like, the reason I am optimistic, I'll tell you the number one reason I'm optimistic is because I believe that even with Vic Fangio being here, your best defense is going to be an incredible offense. And with the weapons they have, I mean, you talk about a home run hitting offense. Anyone can be a cleanup hitter in this team. Anybody can hit that 3-run. Anyone can hit that grand slam on this offense. And you have a very versatile quarterback that can air the ball out downfield. You have an offensive line that I still feel is going to be pretty damn good going into this season. That's the number one reason why I'm optimistic, is even if this defense is passive, even if they do get run off the football field like the Eagles did to Vic Fangio against the Miami Dolphins, despite the injuries in that primetime game in South Philly, even if that does happen, this offense is going to be able to keep up with a lot of great offenses that they play throughout this season. That's why I'm optimistic about this team going into this year.
Finally, I got a couple guys here that I would like just to get your opinion on replacing Fredo Sirianni at the end of 2025.
Yeah.
So, okay. Bill Belichick. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm thumbs down on Belichick. It's not even the age thing as much as it is. Like, I know Jeffrey Lurie, the reports have been out there where they kicked the tires, had a conversation, all that stuff. The more you get removed from it, that a lot of it was Tom Brady. Everything like that was if Brady, I know him, like Brady leaves, goes to Tampa and wins again. Like, come on. I think there's a certain way of Bill Belichick doing things that, for whatever reason, whether it's Tom Brady or whatever, only worked in New England. And I know a lot of people jump to the Matt Castle year where they still won 11 games, but they lost the playoffs and all that. The only place he had success and the only quarterback he's had success with only happens to be the greatest quarterback of all time. So, yeah, it's tough to go with Bill Belichick. And I think that it would be this is where the age does come into it. I think for Bill Belichick to come in here, you'd almost have to be in total rebuild mode.
You don't think there's a coincidence he coached the greatest defensive player and the greatest offensive player in the history of the league?
I think Tom Brady coached Lawrence Taylor as well when he was like 4 years old. No. That's a great point. You're also talking about the time he coached the greatest defensive player. You're also talking about him coaching with Bill Parcells, who had
never won a Super Bowl without him.
Without him, yeah. That's pretty good, but that's also a long time ago.
Yes, it is. No salary cap back then.
No salary cap, but I think even more so, the rules of the game.
Different league.
Completely different league. Yeah. The ruls of the game, especially for a defense. Forget about it. You get fined just for looking at a player, as we all know.
Yep. How about Mike Vrabel?
The thing that jumps out to me is defense, and I know people would love to see a defensive hire. I like Mike Vrabel. He had ample opportunities to do things in Tennessee, and it didn't happen. The one, I don't know if he was on your list or not, if you're only talking about, but maybe you have him on there. But Vrabel would raise my eyebrows. I just think it wouldn't happen. Maybe he's one of those guys. The thing that also makes me interested is not that he's Andy Reid by any means, but when you're in your first head coaching job for a long time, you kind of get set in this groove, and you don't really get that opportunity to kind of take that, no pun intended, bird's eye view of everything. And you can learn when you take that bird's eye view. Maybe that's what he's doing right now.
He's not on here, but I think I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Is it Jim Harbaugh?
You're never getting him. You don't think the Eagles would pay $20 million for a coach, do you?
I don't think they'd give $20 million to a coach that would have to run the show.
And full power?
Yeah, and exactly, run the show. That's the guy I said fire Nick
Sirianni.
Sirianni.
Tom Telesco in Los Angeles to bring him in. They gave him the $17 million and full complete autonomy to bring him in. You know what? Somebody brought something up, Farzy, earlier. Would you ever make a trade for Sean McVay to be the head coach of the Eagles, trade draft picks away like they did for Sean Payton and for John Gruden?
Right.
Would you ever do something? I think he's the second best play calling head coach in the league, and that includes Kyle Shanahan. I think he's better. I think he's right there with Andy Reid.
Yeah. I'd love to see Sean McVay as the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Can you imagine what he would do? Plus it's a fail-safe on your coordinator searches each and every single year.
So here's where I think it would have to go. This Eagles season would have to be awful. The offense would have to be awful. Kellen Moore would have to be a total bust.
Does it have to be awful or does – but Farzy, if they go to a division round, that's awful. I mean –
if they go to the divisional round and lose,
don't matter with this team anymore. You've got to win the division and be in the fight for home field. That stuff, you don't talk about Mahomes in regular season anymore. You talk about postseason. Hurts is 0-3 on the playoffs in his career.
Yeah.
In the road. Okay? Yeah. You've got to show it in the postseason, don't you, with this roster?
1,000%. Yeah. A first round exit would certainly be awful.
Be disastrous.
But in that case, you don't think that they then promote that? See, what I mean is,
I do think they would.
Okay, so what I mean by awful is Kellen Moore's a bust. Obviously, Nick Sirianni gets fired. You limp into the playoffs, lose to the first round. That means you clean house.
Yeah,
you do that. That's when you would make.
Is Howie's job in jeopardy then?
Oh man, no, I don't think so. Because look, Jeffrey Lurie. At this point, and I think Howie's done a great job, but at this point, Howie Roseman has become the safety net for Jeffrey Lurie. I mean, the Chip Kelly debacle, 2 years later, as the old joke goes, Howie Roseman.
Much damage on the owner?
Yeah. Hey, oh, absolutely.
That reign of terror in Philly did that much damage to Jeffrey Lurie's structure and power structure with the Eagles that he's not duplicating anything like that again.
Well, put it to you like this. Not only was it so terrible in how it was burned down, but how it was rebuilt by Howie Roseman. 2 years later, you won the Super Bowl. So Howie ain't going. Howie's a lifetime Eagles general manager. As long as he wants that job, he's going to have it. You talk about things being awful. Things would have to be terrible for a long time. But if you're making the trade, if you're getting Sean McVay somehow, then you're talking about things being pretty damn terrible this season for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Eagles. That's the only time I think they'd entertain the idea. If you're asking me if I'd do it, hell yeah, I'd do it. If this team was up in flames, hell yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna to shorten this up. I'm gonna combine this. Bobby Slowick, Texans OC, Ben Johnson, OC Lions, Adam Stenovich, OC Green Bay, working with McVay, or the guy in Baltimore that has a skill set that is coaching Lamar Jackson, and he coached an MVP last year in Todd Monken. Which one of those guys do you think you would want to earmark in case everything goes sideways? We're having a little fun here with this.
Yeah.
What type of coach would you want to see being brought in? Because if you bring Monken in, you're assuming that you're going to go forward with Jalen even more years because that's the style that fits Lamar and him. I mean, he just coached a guy to an MVP season and a 13-win season and the number one seed in the AFC. I mean, doesn't that guy make the proper fit?
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that. I just had this conversation. And there's one more thing. And it's all the things you mentioned. You're absolutely on point. There's one. Now it's really Columbo. There's one more thing, Sills. Who does he work for now? Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh? John Harbaugh. John Harbaugh worked for who that Jeffrey Lurie loves so much to this day? Andy Reid. So it's an extension of the Andy Reid coaching tree. Jeffrey Lurie loves his history, and he loves connections like that. He loves John Harbaugh, as we all know as well. To get somebody from, even at this point, I guess it's not even, it's a leaf off the tree, and he's had success, and he's got experience, it's definitely somebody that Jeffrey Lurie would be looking at.
Absolutely there. And by the way, Kellen Moore will be the next head football coach of the Buffalo Bills.
Ooh, look at you. All right.
He goes up to Buffalo and coaches Josh Allen. If there's success, he goes up there and coaches. On the way out the door here, your Phillies, 14 losses only, 30-plus games they've won now. One thing that organization has struggled with for the last since they won the World Series has been starting pitching and the back end of the bullpen. Do you believe now that they and Dave Dombrowski has addressed that? And is this the team to beat in the National League, or is it still the Braves yet to come? And to me, always too, Farzy, you got to kind of wait till the All-Star break, and then you see what happens after the All-Star break. But do they have enough pitching in that organization to make this thing and go through the tape this year?
I think that they still need a slam-the-door type of closer. I'm not sure who that is yet. We still got a while before the trade deadline. I love that everyone's talking about it now. But I remember Roy Halladay, Cliff. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee were on this. Cole Hamels, Roy Oswalt. This is better than that. Watching these guys, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Ranger Suarez, watching those guys has been amazing this year. The bullpen has been great this year. They're much better than I thought they'd be with Jose Alvarado. Jeff Hoffman struggled last night, but the bullpen's been incredible. What's really fascinating about this Phillies team is it's a next man up mentality, but not in terms of injury necessarily. Trey Turner being hurt is obviously something to keep an eye on, but it's one guy struggles, another guy gets hot. The two constants are Ranger Suarez and Alec Boehm. Then everybody else kind of goes, like Bryce Harper finally gets hot. Nick Castellanos, after a 2-week stretch where he was actually hitting the ball, he goes back to ice cold. Brandon Marsh was doing fantastic. He cools off. JT Realmuto gets hot. Like, somebody else gets hot in this lineup. And what's really impressive is that there is no Superman gene. Like, nobody just sits back and says, all right, Bryce Harper's just going to win it for us. Everybody else takes an opportunity. And how good do you have to be if you're Alec Boehm, if you're in a lineup with Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper and JT Realmuto and Nick Castellanos, who's still a name, but we know what Nick Castellanos is, and you're the cleanup hitter in this offense? You're
wedged in the middle of that. You're getting pitches to hit.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And he's grooving 438 with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
Yeah.
That's clutch, baby. That's clutch.
You know, the best general manager in Philadelphia is Dave Dombrowski. It's not Howie Roseman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? I've made that same point when you talk about overall career, of course. I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been to 5 World Series.
Marlins, they won. I think he won at Detroit and also in Boston. I mean,
he traded for Darren Dalton.
Yeah.
Yeah. He went to it in Detroit. They lost to the Scott Rowland Cardinals.
Yep.
And then, won in Boston as well. But yeah, from people I've talked to, they have him as like a lot of the baseball people I talk to talk about him as like the best baseball man they've ever talked to.
Ever.
Dave Dombrowski is just a baseball man.
When I was down in Miami, he worked down there with Larry Beinfest, and I had a chance to talk with Dave when he was down there, and they were putting that minor league system together, and they had Miguel Cabrera, and they had all these guys, and I'll never forget when he got the job to go to Detroit, and I remember talking to him on my radio show. He goes, Dan, you know what the Marlins said? He's a fat drunk. I said, well, if a Triple Crown hitter is a fat drunk, give me 9 of them. Hey, give me 9 of those guys. Remember he had that issue like that with there was a drinking issue down there.
Yeah.
And the art collector down there didn't know what the hell he was doing with the Marlins. And he goes, yeah, so they wanted to dump him, but Dombrowski was so good on player development and with Fernandez and all them young players that they had down there. And it was a lot to do with Dave. I think Dave and Theo Epstein are the 2 people that I've talked to that have built organizations in my time in sports radio. That 2 of the best general managers I've ever seen in baseball.
Yeah, very, very fair. Very fair. Miguel Cabrera, 19 years old, hitting that home run off Clemens after he brushed him back.
Unbelievable at night. Hey, by the way, too, name me a better right-hand hitter in baseball in the last 25 years than Miguel Cabrera. He's won multiple, if I'm not mistaken, 2-time MVP. He's won a Triple Crown. He's won the home run title 3 times. He's won the RBI title 4. He's won 4-time batting or 3-time batting champion. Can you name I mean, this guy's a modern day Henry Aaron.
The only guy
home runs.
I'm trying to. The only guy at throwback is Pujols.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's the only guy I throw back. But I mean, you're talking about top 2. Holy good Lord.
And Pujols really was never the same, Mark, after he went to the American League and he left the Cardinals. And when he went, when he went to Anaheim, I never thought he was ever really the same guy when he was in St. Louis. When he was in
Mhm.
St. Louis, this guy was on pace for like Pete Rose, 4,000 hits, 700 home runs. I mean, Pujols is probably Pujols, A-Rod, and Cabrera have to be the best right-hand hitters in the last 25, 30 years.
Real quick, I'll just give you this. I just heard a story from Scott Rowland recently about Albert Pujols trying to tell him how to adjust on an inside fastball. And Albert Pujols is like, no, this is what you do. You just get down and he's trying to break it down for him. And Scott Rowland goes, no, that's what you do. You're not human. We're all human. I can't do what you're doing right now. I love that story. But anyway.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much, Farzy. I really appreciate it.
Always a pleasure, brother. Take it easy.
You got it. The great Mark Farzetta. Don't forget to listen to him to start off our broadcasting. All right. Where are we right now, Xander, in the hit count? Got to get to 200, guys. Let's get to 200 here, man. Where are we in the hit count? 168. All right, guys. We're a little behind. Need about 32 to the top of the hour. 32 to get to 200 likes. Could use your help here. Thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood days.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
AJ Owens shows up at a charity bike event on a motorized scooter. Look at me! What a showman. Is he good? Yeah. Look at me, everyone. I'm different. I already know what this guy's going to say. Elite move by AJ. Oh, my God. Xander loves AJ. Oh, no. Look at me, everyone. Holy cow, is this guy. What a showman. I'm surprised he didn't show up in a Harley. Oh, my God. What a clown. I mean it, man. These wide receivers in today's NFL. A.J. Owens. What a player. Absolutely. By the way, Xander, where are we right now in the like total? Where are we? Got to get to 200 likes, my friends. That's where we are. 200 I want to get to. A.J. Brown, stud. Let's see here. 182, 18 away. I got faith in you. I got faith in you guys. Let's go. 17 to go. Thank you, guys. You guys have been awesome. A.J. Owens. Oh, man. Holy cow, man. I mean, hey. Oh, Jesus criminy. Absolutely. Hey, here's what's going to go down. You ready? And you watch this, boys and girls. Here's what happens in that Packer game. A.J. Owens gets 7 targets. Devontae gets 10. Goddard gets 5. Saquon gets 5. Well, let's see here. 7, 25. That's 32 attempts. About right. Kind of want to maybe see the kid between 28 and 32. Oh, that's not going to be good enough for Owens. I need them all. I want them all. Dude, you make the money. Shut up. Play team football. That guy's not going to play team football. No way. Has he ever? See, Xander's like, Big Bill. Big numbers. Big numbers. And big predictability. See, the more you go to Owens, the more you know and more you're easily game planning that Eagle offense. He needs to be used more this year as a decoy to get everyone else open. And you know what that'll do? That'll help him in the back end of the season where they need him the most. I don't need him getting all those yards in the beginning of the season. I need a stretch run with him. And remember what Keith Byers said. They didn't play championship football from Thanksgiving on. Those were his words. Not big sills. A.J. Brown having a record year this. Holy cow. Record year will result. If A.J. Owens has a record year, the Eagles win 7 games. That record year he had last year had an epic meltdown. 1,800. Whoa. Whoa. Hey, Twiz, you know what? I'm pissed off at you. Your boy quit. You brought a loser to my show. That's on your pelt, guy. You brought a guy to my show that quit. He's back in his mom's panties in his mom's basement. Congratulations, Twiz. Twiz, next time I take your advice, it'd be like taking, let me see here. It'd be like taking Fredo Sirianni's advice on hiring a coordinator. Twiz has now officially become Fredo Sirianni when it comes to recommending coaches. A.J. Owens would have been doing push-ups in the NovaCare parking lot if he didn't get his new contract. Yeah, so get this. This is what this guy says. Here's the difference between A.J. Owens and T.O. T.O. is going to play on a broken leg. Your guy's in a booby bar for the playoff game in Atlantic City. Hey, man, I didn't feel pretty good. And I don't know, it wasn't really up to snuff. I couldn't go. Owens is playing with a broken leg. 14 catches, 140. Guy played on a broken leg. Who would you rather have in a game that mattered? T.O. or A.J. Owens? Honestly, before you start talking shit on T.O., that guy played a game for you with a broken leg. He can't help it that your vomit bag quarterback shit the bed that game. I mean, Owens played on a broken leg. A.J. Owens played on a broken heart. Oh, my God. Played on a broken heart. Who would you rather have in a game? Terrell Owens or A.J. Brown? Who would you rather have in a game? Oh, you don't want to answer that? Who would you rather have in a ball game? T.O. or A.J. Brown? I'm taking Owens all day. I'm taking, hey, the quarterback's responsibility to coach that personality. Tom Brady coached a murderer. You can coach Owens if you know what you're doing. Donovan. It's hypothetical. He's not playing. I'm asking you, who would you want in a football game if you had to win a game? Terrell Owens or A.J. Owens or A.J. Brown? Who would you want? Who would you want in the game? Look, they won't answer it. 204, T.O. was crazy good. If it's Cowboys T.O., hell no. Who would? This guy played in a Super. How many yards did Owens get in the Super Bowl? No. You know what's not hypothetical? Your wide receiver, A.J. Brown, not wanting to play in a playoff game. What was the injury? A foot? Oh. His little footsie's hurt. He had a little foot injury. Owens had a broken leg. Owens played with a broken leg. And get this, he had a grade 2 sprain. On what? What? Seriously, on what? What did he possibly sprain? This guy had a broken leg. Broken leg. Sills doesn't know injuries. It's the Super Bowl. There are no injuries. Signed Patrick Mahomes. There's no injuries in Super Bowls. No such thing as injuries when there's no games left to be played. Woo! I can't. I have a grade 2 MCL sprain. Not me. I'm A.J. Owens. T.O. for all his bitching played on a broken leg. 9 catches, 122 on a broken leg. How you doing? Man, there was vomiting, though. I know your loser quarterback couldn't handle the pressure, so he goes back into an airplane hangar and starts vomiting in a bag. Wow. Hey, get ready to go out to war. You're going to go play against a football team, and you're looking over, and there's your general vomiting. How you feeling? Oh, great. My general's vomiting as I'm ready to go out and play the biggest game of my life. Look at him. Holy shit. I bet that exuded confidence. Hey, our general's vomiting in the back. Oh, man. Our general's vomiting. Oh, my God. I'll take AJ. He's going to have a career year. Oh, man. Hey, Twiz. How you doing? Yeah. Oh, my God almighty. You guys pick some of the craziest people on the planet to root for. Oh, yeah, 9 catches for 138. Is that it? He was throwing up late fourth quarter. Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't have my vomit meter on when Donovan decided to start barfing. Okay, hey, Xander, where are we in the count right now? Got to get to 200, guys. We're 13 away, I believe. Not mistaken. We got 30 minutes to get to 200. Hopefully we can get there. Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you so much. We're going to reset here a little bit of some of the things that we opened the show with in the first hour. 188, we're 12 away. Let's go, dudes. 67 days away from the start of training camp. And make no mistake about it, I like the fact that they're putting more. I thought he had 13 receptions too. I thought he had a big Super Bowl in that game. But I like what they're doing by having more of these organized team activities, not mandatory. There's only going to be one mandatory camp. And I like what they're doing by putting as many as they possibly can because they got to install a lot of stuff. Sills, I'll hit the like button if you say A.J. Brown, one of the best wide receivers. That's easy. He is. Joey, have you ever heard me say A.J. Owens or A.J. Brown sucks? Have you ever heard me say that? Have you ever heard me say he sucks? I've actually been quite surprised on how good he's been with a mediocre quarterback. I can't believe the numbers he's putting up. Most of the time, quarterbacks throw for near 5,000 yards when you got a quarterback averaging or receiver averaging 1,500 yards. Who's better, McNabb or Wentz? McNabb did it longer. McNabb did. McNabb's better than Dak. McNabb's better than Kirk Cousins. He's better than Tony Romo. Name the quarterbacks in that era. I mean, McNabb's better than Romo. Cousins. You can't say Roethlisberger, Eli, or Peyton, obviously. Is he better than Flacco? Probably not. Who's better, Romo or Dak? It's the same guy. They're the same guy. Maybe Dak? I don't know. They're the Forrest Hill. They're the same dude. The Cowboys have had, get this, the Cowboys have had the same guy in the building, Romo and Dak, for the last 20 years, it seems. Green Bay has had 2 quarterbacks, now 3 quarterbacks in the building. 2 of them have won Super Bowls. I don't know. Dallas getting more out of their guys. Romo or McNabb? McNabb. I'll take McNabb over Romo. Tony Romo in 17 years has, 2 playoff wins? Come on, man. Shit, Joe Burrow already has more playoff wins than Romo has in 17 years. But McNabb will never be hailed as an elite quarterback because of his postseason failures. But that's okay. It's not that easy to win. I've pointed it out to you before. Peyton Manning is 2 games or 1 game over 500. Aaron Rodgers is only 1 or 2 games over 500. Dan Marino 7-9. Russell Wilson is 9-7. It's not what you think. Some of these guys, I mean, yeah, when you talk Brady and Montana and you're talking Patrick Mahomes, those are different dudes, man. Even Aikman's numbers are great. Bradshaw's numbers in the postseason. He had a great football team. Right? I mean, I'm a Cowboy fan, and Sills is one. Hey, Tony Romo or Dak, I don't know. Like the same dude. But here's the one thing you got to remember. DC 411 about Romo. Romo was by far the better investment than what Dak was. Here's why. This guy was a UDFA. You wasted no draft pick on him. And Tony Romo had a phenomenal career in the NFL. He was undrafted. He's Dallas Cowboys' all-time leading passer in almost every statistic. And he wasn't a draft pick. So you found a guy who went on to break all the Cowboy records, whatever you say about him. Postseason, no question. But did you really expect a guy who was not drafted to lead a team to a Super Bowl? I mean, how many quarterbacks in Super Bowl history have ever won a Super Bowl that weren't drafted? Kurt Warner? Who else? Who else? Who else won a Super Bowl that wasn't a draft pick at quarterback? Warner wasn't drafted. He was an unrestricted free agent. I mean, Tony Romo had a spectacular career, made a ton of money, won a lot of games, put the Cowboys back on a really, really good track. And, I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better. It's a tremendous investment. I think Brad Johnson was drafted, if I'm not mistaken, Chris, I thought he was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. You could be right. I thought Brad Johnson was drafted by the Vikings. I thought the Vikings drafted him. Maybe Washington. Either the Redskins at the time or Minnesota drafted him out of Florida State. I could have swore he was picked. Maybe later. Back then they had 12 rounds, I think, when he was drafted. So he may have been picked in later rounds. Kurt Warner is the only quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl that's a UDFA. And Tony Romo, people were like, well, this guy was a bum at quarterback for the Cowboys. How was he a bum when he wasn't drafted? What were your expectations? He was going to win a Super Bowl for you? That's insanity. And he became one of the highest paid players, broke every record on the planet. How do you not think that that was an overachieving career? Tony Romo had a great career for what the expectations were. Where did he come out of? Like Northern Illinois or Northern Iowa or some shit? Like a Northern Illinois? I mean, he was some small school dude, and no one expected shit from him. Liked Romo. Almost had it if Dez. And you know what, Forrest? I thought that catch at Green Bay, I thought he caught it. And they would have went on to the NFC title game. Eastern Michigan. Thank you, Chris. I thought he caught that ball. That was the best Dallas Cowboy team in the last 30 years that lost that game, that divisional game in Green Bay. And I still to this day think that was a catch. I think it was bogus. He caught it. He went to the ground. His knees went to the ground. It popped out and home cooking. I mean, you're in Lambeau, dude. You're not getting that called in Lambeau, especially when you got a football team with Aaron Rodgers in it. You're just not. Romo was a choker. Well, again, Mark, okay, what were your expectations? He wasn't a first rounder. Shit, he was a no-rounder. I mean, he was a no-rounder. So why do you hate the Gators? because they blow out loud. It's the Howie Rosemans versus the Dan Sileos. August 31st, baby. Oh, yeah. I want Howie's ass. It's in Scumbagville, too. Oh, yeah. It's in Scumbagville. Oh, man. We're going up to Scumbagville. Great looking chicks. But we're going to Scumbagville to go play those Yaters. Uh-huh. Oh, we're going to put the wood on that team this year. I am so looking forward to that game. Game ball right there, Big Sills, Gator Bowl. September 6th. Gators. Gators all day. Of course, Twiz. We'd go for the Gators. You sound like my old lady. By the way, Twiz, who do you think my wife roots for? It's in the swamp. We are going. Yeah, well, hey, you better bring a vomit bag because you're going to be throwing up. Hey, tell me. It's in the swamp. I think Sean Payton was in Florida. If the Eagles win the Super Bowl, Sills has to wear a Tim Tebow jersey. Tim Tebow. Baby Jesus. Amen. Aaron Andrews roots for the Gators. Now, Barb, you tried to have me pronounce Coochie. Or Uchi, or whatever it is. Come on now. The U, go Canes. Yes, sir. Howie's going to be in the Gator alumni section. Do you know who my wife roots for? I went to Penn State, dude. I don't have a dog in that fight. Well, don't worry. You won't have a dog in any fight as long as James Franklin's your coach. Dan, who hates more, Florida Gators or Florida State Gators? My wife roots for Florida State. She likes okay, here's the story. So my wife doesn't really like Jimmy Johnson. I'll say it to you. She's a Tom Landry guy. She's a Dallas girl. And when I first met her, I go, hey, yeah, I'm with the Cowboys. And, you know, I got there in 88. I met my wife in 88. Last 5 games of the season, I was signed by the Cowboys. And I wasn't active, but I was signed by the Cowboys, so I was there. And then I went through 89. Jimmy gets the job. And they fired Tom Landry. I hate that guy. Oh, my God. Then she became the producer of my show. And when she became the producer of my show, she used to get Bobby Bowden on. Coach, I love you. She used to buy his orange juice all the time. My wife got Burt Reynolds on my show. Because I loved the movies that he had and all that. And Bert used to come to our games or come to the Florida State Miami game all the time. And so Bert would come down and he would introduce himself to the Miami guys. He was really cool about it. And I loved The Longest Yard. There was a guy on there who I've become friends with since. His name is Sonny Sixkiller. Have you guys ever heard of Sonny Sixkiller? You guys even, this is so old school. Do you guys know who Sonny Sixkiller was? He works at the University of Washington still. But do you guys know who Sonny Sixkiller is? Wayne, tell these folks who Sonny Sixkiller is. Sounds like a mobster. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated at one time. And he played in The Longest Yard. Okay, well, Sonny Sixkiller's in The Longest Yard. He's the Native American. And he played in the WFL, and he also played at the University of Washington. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate for the Huskies. And he's the guy in the movie, the Reynolds movie, that goes, hey, we're going to try to get you out of here. And he goes, how? And Burt Reynolds is sitting there because they told him not to make any Native American jokes. And Joe Cap's in that movie too. He sure is. But I became friends with Sonny Sixkiller through Burt Reynolds and them. Crazy, huh? Should have been a Knoll. Yeah. Never thought of it, but he's from that neck of the woods up there in Washington State. That's a badass name. Me too, man. He works in the public relations. No, he works in the marketing of the Washington Huskies. Still to this day, he's a legend up there. Sonny Six Killer. Just, hey, wasn't Sonny Six Killer part of the murder? No, this guy is a football player, Washington State. Absolutely phenomenal, man. Just Xander, where are we? Bert played at FSU with Lee Corso, actually. Hey, Barb, Florida State was a women's college prior to like 1954, something around there. It was a women's college. It was a nursing college. Yeah, it was the nursing college. Bert played football at played football at Florida State, and Lee Corso was on that team. Hey, Twiz, that's awesome, man. Xander, where are we in the likes right now? Where are we in the likes? I'd like to see if we can get this bad puppy to 201. Let's see if we can get it to 220. Guys, if I could take a knee, I would. Thank you so much. Still has a very good nursing school. Neil, I didn't know that they still kept that going. Mr. International, who he and I don't always see eye to eye. Dan, every day I take time out of my day to watch your show. Xander, put that up there for us. That right there should be on a T-shirt and has JAKIB Sports on it. Mr. International, it's the kindest compliment you can ever give my show. It's the kindest. Thank you. It's really cool. You take time out of your day to come here and watch the show. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sills, didn't Ron Simmons play at Florida State? Real quick before I go to timeout. So Ron Simmons was him and Randy White were my two high school idols. They were my two high school idols. It was the first time I ever saw a guy bench 500 pounds was Ron Simmons. He played at Florida State. And I had never seen anything like it. And I was like, wow, he's a nose guard, played at FSU. First guy to get his number 50 retired at FSU. Oh, I loved him. I loved Randy. Wore 94 at Maryland. Loved those two guys. Big, strong dudes. And I got a chance to meet Ron Simmons through wrestling. And I told him all about it. You know, he got drafted, I think, late, like the 12th round by the Bengals. Man, he was great in college. He's just a little undersized, and he got in a little trouble in college. And that's why he didn't go. Then I think he played in Canada, and maybe he played in the USFL. He may have played in the USFL a little bit. He may have played for Burt Reynolds with that Tampa Bay Bandit team. He may have played for that Tampa Bay Bandit. Hey, Greasy, he wore 54. He wore 54 at Dallas, Randy did. But Manster wore 94 at Maryland. Wore 94. All right. Guys, please hit the like button. You guys have been great. I'd like to see if we can get it maybe to 215. Thank you guys so much for today, man. Kind of a little bumpy yesterday. Back on track again. You guys are sensational. Hit the like button. Keep it here, National Football Show.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
Heading down the shore. Have a ball once more.
Here, imaginations run wild and time stands still. Because here, you can find the best of the Jersey Shore, all on one 5-mile island. So leave the old you behind and get lost in the woods.
Wild, wild, wildwood day.
Plan your stay in the Wildwoods today.
Hi, I'm Jim Muehlbronner, Managing Partner at Del Valle Insurance Group. Give us a call. We're a local, knowledgeable agency, not an 800 number. Go Birds!
The greatest fans on earth. It's a bold statement, but would you expect anything less from Philadelphia? 58 years of heartache creates a toughness, a grit, a resolve not found in most. Sure, our prayers were answered, but now that we've had a taste, we're looking for more. Pondley Hockey, official partner of the Philadelphia Eagles.
EAGLES, Eagles.
Damn, Wayne. You know Larry Lacewell? Cool. He was Jerry Jones's right-hand man when he first bought the team. And he used to be the go-between between Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones when things started to get a little bit out of hand. Larry Lacewell is also a guy. I won't tell the Switzer story because I like both men a lot. No, I can't tell that story because I like I like Barry and Larry's not around. Let's just say this, man. Oh, Coach Switzer, that guy was a hound dog. Hey, man, he was, okay. Hey, let's leave it there, bud. Larry Lacewell was just an absolute legend. Absolutely, man. He got my brother a tryout with the Cowboys, and Dan was rocking them until he separated his shoulder. Then it was over. Wayne, you know what? That's when I got sick really bad. Was in Dallas when I caught full-blown meningitis. All of a sudden, I got a shoulder injury, then I got a calf injury, and no one knew why, and I was in the hospital for 2 months in a wheelchair. Oh, you're saying him. Oh, okay. Yeah. I got sick in Dallas, and then I ended up in the hospital, and that's where I had my last rites read. Larry Lacewell came over and saw me, actually. Well, Larry Lacewell worked with Barry Switzer at OU in Norman. So Jimmy, Jerry, and Larry were like the three mafia guys. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Andrew. I've told the story before. I mean, I was doing very well. I was starting in Dallas. I started all the exhibition games. Then I came down with meningitis, and I was in the hospital for 3 months. I couldn't walk. I was in a wheelchair for about 2 months, and I couldn't walk. And the priest came in and read me my last rites. Kind of crazy, huh? I'm meeting, okay, and you know my girlfriend, my wife now, still to this day, one of the greatest stories of all time. She walks in and she's giving me like Taco Bell. And the guy priest comes walking in. He goes, "You Dan Sileo?" And I go, "Yeah." I got a burrito in my hand and I got a Coke. Right? I got a root beer in my hand. And I'm going like this. Yeah. He goes, I'm here to read you your last. And I go, "Read me what?" "I'm having a burrito." It's a true story. I'm not crazy. Mr. International, the loss shortening of the JAKIB roster stunned me a bit. Your realist takes solidified your seat in Eagles coverage forever. That's coming from Eagles Nation. Mr. International, you got to remember something in our business. Ebb and flows. Ebb and flows. As long as you keep the ship above water, ask Odyssey, ask Beasley, ask anybody. Keeping the ship above water, those are the ones that survive. Okay? And guys like NJ Fishing Maniac. Hey, NJ Fishing Maniac, I'm going to do something next year. By the way, I've already done it because yesterday we did this with the fishing tournament. I'm going to give 5 slots away for Xander. I'm going to give 5 slots away for you to be able to fish on a chartered boat and hotel stay for 1, 2, you leave. It's 2 nights and you leave on the 3rd day down at Isle Morada in the Keys. Unreal. I've stayed at that hotel. My wife and I and my daughter stayed there. There's like dolphins that swim around in the marina thing there. And Dee Dee's gone under and actually swam down there. Yeah, so you get on a chartered boat. It's absolutely unbelievable. I'm moving there. I'm moving to Isle Morada. That's where I'm living. And Jimmy's place too, the Big Chill, has said that they're going to start doing some stuff as we get closer to football season. I've never fished Florida. Big tuna. Big time tuna, man. A lot of swordfish too. That sea bass. Hey, Greg, that sea bass is out of hand. Absolutely out of hand when you go down there. Maniac's got to be one of the 5. I'm 6 hours north by car. Oh, that's cool. Oh, my. Hey, do you remember Darren McMurray? He came from our high school. Dude, Darren McMurray is when I first got down to Miami. He was a dear friend. He played on the D line with Kevin Fagan. Really a great player. Really a fine ball player. Didn't get drafted. Wasn't that next elite guy, but he was really good. I loved him. As a matter of fact, real strong dude. Man, I hadn't seen that name, Wayne, in a long time. That's a really great name. Sills is the last of a dying breed. Grateful JAKIB Sports has back and keeps him on no matter what the Eagles organization says. Toto, thank you very much. It means a lot to us. It really does. All aboard the Jaws boat. I took my wife and my kid down there to Isle Morada. This was, I don't know, about 13 years ago. They did their first parasailing. You should have seen Big Sills. I'm sitting on the boat. Hey, Maniac, I'm sitting on the boat. They're about 200 feet in the air. There's my little daughter up there with my daughter. I'm going, what happens if this cord blows away? He goes, well, fish food. I looked at the guy and they started, no. It's all good. We got guys out there in case something sideways goes. It's crazy great. All right. Xander, what's the number here? What's the final number that we have now here for today? 216. What a great rally from yesterday. That's fantastic. Guys are fantastic. We thank you guys so much. Xander's going to join us. By the way, next week we're going to put him on every day. I think he's shown me that. Here's one thing you can always say this about Xander. You see, Big Bill never made an appearance on the program. Neither did Glenn Macnow. After Xander sent me a tape of Glenn Macnow, I went, I don't know. And I'm going like this with Xander. All right. My aunt even said, hey, what is this? I'm like, I know, right? Forrest, you guys were great. Great. Absolutely fantastic. So, Joe, Big Xander, you guys, thank you very much. You guys were absolutely sensational today, and I can't thank you enough. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.